Jarvis, drop my needle.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and if you are interested in listening to idiots, you came to the right place. Have a nice day.
Woo! That's an attention getter.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Oh my God, he's an idiot.
You know, of course, that you're out of your jurisdiction.
Personally, I think you're an idiot.
But that's the evidence in the car.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to Free Range Idiocy, the podcast about everything, but mostly just the stuff we like. As one of the great philosophers of our time, James Todd Smith, once said, "Don't call it a comeback." It's been a hot couple minutes, but we're back with our thoughts on another WrestleMania and what's been going on in WWE since they packed up and left Las Vegas. Is there any sense to be made of what happened at the Death Star, or are we further plummeting down a black hole into total confusion, disillusion, and finally entropy, which will consume us all and turn our collective lives into a tiny smudge on the greasy timeline of existence? Man, I should really stop listening to 9 Inch Nails before we start recording. Anyways, here it is in episode 204, WrestleMania 41 recap and aftermath. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is the man who never gambles on dice, only on his cholesterol. He has been my partner in idiocy for over 2 decades, and probably chain ate a pound of bacon before we're sitting down to record. I give you the man they call Tim.
Well, it's the big show. Yes, it's a big bad show tonight, y'all.
The well gets me.
Yeah, it's the big show. Come on, crank it up and drown out all the lights, y'all. Oh, well, get ready for something that you'll never know. You won't see it coming, but I promise you'll know. The big show. Well, it's the big show. Yes, it's a bad show tonight, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, the big show.
I would have loved to have heard you actually try and do the well as Chris wrote, wow.
Well,
I
just went right into it. How are you, sir? Greetings and salutations. How are you?
Oh my goodness, much better after that. That always just brings a smile to my face every single time.
It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure to perform it.
And how are you, sir? How are things going?
I haven't been contacted by Walken's lawyers yet, so we're flying under the radar.
Does Walken have any lawyers? I have a feeling he defends himself in all lawsuits.
He could.
Your Honor.
Your Honor.
The judge is just like, dismiss. Just get this out. I can't deal with this.
Nincompoop and his associate are sullying my good name.
What's the movie where they're like, where someone's they're like holding him at gunpoint and they're like, put your hands up. He's like, no.
Yeah.
Is that like?
What, something
why?
Kings of New York or something?
Oh, isn't
like
it Suicide Kings, I think?
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's like, I don't wanna. He's like, but I have a gun. He's like, so? Oh, it's so
awesome.
Good.
That is awesome.
Oh, well, here we are, sir. It is Free Range Idiocy Friday. It's been a few weeks. We already talked about all that in the Week in Geek, so we won't get into it here.
It's been a sabbatical or 3.
If you did not listen to our Week in Geek episode from Week in Geek Wednesday, go ahead and trundle on back and listen to that and then get into this one. So we are going to talk a little bit about WrestleMania 41, what's been happening since then, and where are we now? Mostly this is just so Tim can try and run up the score on me on the scoreboard in his completely rigged leaderboard that he has going on right now. It's
Oh,
totally fake
I was going to say,
news.
most importantly, you want to see if you can catch up with me. So that's what I was thinking.
It's a lost cause, just with all of these things where you control the spreadsheets and the formulas.
Oh,
and all
will
of that.
you stop? Every time we do a contest and you don't win,
I am
it's
just
like
a pawn in the game of life.
Oh my gosh! Just
Uncle Todd is just
stop.
a pawn in the game of life.
Lord Almighty.
Candy grain for Mongo. So shall we get started on night one? And actually, I did. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on a second.
What did you do?
What did you do?
What?
Okay, there we go.
Well,
I actually did, because I know that this bothered you last time.
Yes.
So I actually made sure I recorded my rating, my star rankings,
so
that I wouldn't be doing it kind of off the cuff here, because I know you get your undies in a bunch.
This is what I love about how I control the spreadsheets, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and then we start to do this stuff. You haven't written your star rating down. The entire point is based on how close you come, and you throw your star rating out, which miraculously matches, if not is
It
right
does
there.
It does
every
not.
time.
It does not every time.
Every
Oh
time.
my gosh.
Gosh, we haven't even started yet, and we're belly aching like crazy.
You going to take your ball and go home at some point? Is that what you're going to do?
No, but I am not going to stand here and have my name besmirched. So.
I hate to tell you, sir, but you've been...
Look, I do enough of that on my own.
Just by being in close proximity to me the past 20-some-odd years, you've been besmirching yourself. You are fully besmirched.
Oh,
you are besmirched to the most highest degree of besmirchment.
You're besmirched of the highest order.
Which, in a way, congratulations. I mean,
thank you.
You've besmirched to heights hitherto unknown, and also lows.
Did you just say hitherto?
Hitherto. Therefore, furthermore.
Oh my gosh. Well, you remember that's from Avengers Infinity War, right? When Doctor Strange says something about hitherto unknown, and Tony's like, "Did you just say hitherto?"
I forgot about that.
Good. That was good.
All right. So
WrestleMania 41. WrestleMania 41.
All right.
Overall event reaction. So not like we're starting with night one here. No. Just I know it's been a few weeks. Just quick impressions.
Dude, I don't even remember last week.
Oh, come on. You got to remember like that stadium, the setup, the
stage was very cool. I mean, it is, again, very WWE that they're constructing this massive stage, and they're still managing, like they're now like selling advertising on the individual turnbuckle pads. Like, of course they're gonna fit more seats on the actual stage and above the stage. Mm-hmm. Leave it to WWE to put a skybox on top of their stage. The NFL is in green with envy right now.
They're jelly. They're very jelly right now.
Watch for the NFL to debut like a drone with like 5 people on it hovering over the field this season to try and compete. No, it was a decent looking set. The ramps for the cars coming up, almost like it was a hotel. Like in a way, that was kind of cool, but I don't know. It kind of felt a little bit weird because they only used it like 3 times.
Yeah.
For the whole 2 nights, which I was like, it kind of seems a lot of extra work for your 3 entrances, and one of them was Charlotte Flair. So I'm just trying to forget that ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, I mean, hot damn, they 120,000 plus seats
over 2 nights.
Over 2 nights.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
And then Uncle Corny was talking about their seating prices for SummerSlam and the packages that they have. The amount of money that WWE/TKOs is pulling in these days is borderline obscene. Like, they are, forget like sending Katy Perry into space. Like, they might have their own space program within the next couple of years at the rate of income that they are
Is
getting.
it $40,000?
Yes.
Yeah, because I read a couple articles, and Randy Orton was talking apparently to he was doing a signing with a family, and I don't know, he asked him, I don't know how it came up, but he asked about, did they go for night 1 or 2, and they said, I think either. Oh no, he asked them if they were on the floor seats, and they were like, no, it was like 20 grand or something like that. He's like, that's insulting, or not insulting, but it was like that, like that was just insane that it was that much. Like that was just insane. Yeah, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
So I guess, but the deal with, is it SummerSlam or was it? No, it was SummerSlam. So you get tickets for night 1 and 2.
Okay.
Plus the SmackDown and Raw. So you're basically at the 4 nights. Plus there's a meet and greet, plus there's a VIP, but still
that's like 10 grand a ticket.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It is. And that's on camera side. That's a hard cam. You're on camera, dead center, front row. And then you move away from that, and it was like 34 grand for being off center cam or whatever. But still, it's a butt ton of money.
That's crazy.
Insane. So I mean, but even for the cheap seats, I'm guessing they were pretty pricey. So yeah, they're making some cashish, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it seemed like they, production wise, all that stuff. I
love the hanging video panels, by the way.
That was cool, and the fact that they moved up and down.
Yes.
That was I think I referred to them as like LED slabs.
Yeah,
that's
cool. Really what they were, and they made for a great effect, across a variety of entrances. It really stood out and just gave it a unique look.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, much the same reaction for me. I thought the stage was well designed. I thought it was really funny that you had fans sitting, kind of in the top section of it. That's just crazy. And yeah, the video slabs are great. The presentation was really top notch. What you expect for WrestleMania, and just really thought they did a great job of giving it that big event vibe. From the early part of the event where there was some daylight still to when it would get dark, and it was more of a kind of traditional lighting, for the arena, because it was darker. But yeah, it seems like Vegas did a great job, as far as hosting them, and the stadium was it just for so many matches, when you just saw the volume of people, it was just, it kind of reminded me a little bit of when they did WrestleMania 3 from the Pontiac Silverdome, where you're just like, holy crap, there's a ton of people. I know it wasn't the same amount. It wasn't 100,000 people in one night, but it was still just an amazing number of people who were watching the event. So yeah, overall really enjoyed it, and thought we had some really interesting, unique entrances, and it was memorable, very, very memorable. So, all right, we're going to go through the matches now. The way we set up our matches, we did not. This will not be done in the order that the matches happened. I'm just going to start from the top of our match table and just work our way down. We'll have to remember what order these were in, or I mean, I can try. I don't actually remember what the
just go with what we've
was,
got.
so.
It's fine.
All right, so the first match we have this is in our table. This was not the first match of night 1, but it was for the WWE World Tag Team Championship, the War Raiders, Ivar and Eric versus the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Thoughts on this match, sir? And what was your? Let's see, we have our picks here. So
I took 0 notes, so it might be.
I got some notes.
It's probably unfruitful to be asking me for any feedback. I'll feed off of what your notes are.
Well, apparently on this match, I had one bullet. One thing I found kind of funny, and I do remember this, is when the War Raiders came down. There's a game that I play and my kids play on our phones called Clash Royale, and both Ivar and Eric were dressed up as characters, and this happened in a couple matches where you had folks dress up as characters from a game that they had a partnership with or a sponsorship with. And so it kind of cracked me up because they came down. I'm like, all right, this isn't their normal stuff.
Yeah, it was closer back to being the Viking Raiders, honestly.
Yeah, and it reminded me of something I was familiar with, and then I saw like the branding pop up of Clash, and right now, like, Cody does a number of commercials for Clash Royale or for Clash of Clans, I think is the game.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's what it was, Clash of Clans. They're both related, same characters basically in both. But anyways, it was just funny to see them come down in the garb, and then and so anyway, so that's all I really have is just average match. You know, there was some good action, but it didn't really jump. Like that match didn't stand out to me. It wasn't super special. It was just kind of your run of the mill tag match where you had a feeling the New Day was going to go over based on how, you know, the kind of the stories were being told for this. And that's what happened. New Day become new World Tag Team Champions. Kofi was hysterical. I mean, just he had the wide-eyed, you know, look on his face with them winning. You know, just kind of like he's like, you know, like, you know, they're the champions of the world. So yeah, so we both picked the New Day as the winners. So
just a quick question.
Yes.
Do you feel like the dressing up as characters thing is one, as Uncle Corny would say, a hat on a hat? Because we already have people who are dressing up as characters. Now it's a character dressing up as a character, which I don't know if I need that kind of level of inception in my wrestling.
Yeah.
But also, I guess also to go with Uncle Corny and his, you know, wizened old bastard sense, is this like a step too far? Like, is it just too much? Like, okay, I get you want to make money, fine. Can't we draw a line somewhere though? Like, at what point are we going to start like just giving bonuses for like people getting tattoos of products?
Right.
You know, like it felt to me like I'm fine with like doing the sponsorships for the matches and like dude wipes, you know, as stupid as it seems, like sponsoring a match, fine. But if you then were like, oh, and Dude Wipe sponsors this Kiss My Ass match, like then it's like, okay, now you're going too far, and to be like, oh, here you're dressed up as this character, like, no, it's just you got to draw the line somewhere.
It does seem a bit much to me.
Okay.
It's enough. Like I don't know where the value is gained in it, to be honest, because you're already running, you know, whatever you want to call it when you flash up the, you know, the name of the game as the entrances are happening. You know, there's kind of like a mini commercial there. You have all the branding for the game on the ring side, on the mat potentially. So I mean, the one thing I did kind of understand with it is if you were familiar with the game, the War Raiders do look a lot like the characters in the game. I mean, it's just kind of a funny thing. So I don't know if it was just like they thought it would be cute to kind of do that, given, you know, what their characters used to be, the fact they look so much like the characters in the game. But I do agree it was probably a bit too much. And, you know, you got to figure too, the people in the crowd, like they may not get it, you know, like they don't have the luxury of Cole and McAfee and others giving us kind of the background, like, oh, look, they're dressed up like the characters from this game. You know, it's like for us at home, yeah, we get the context. For people in the crowd, they're like, what the hell's going on? You know?
Yeah. Although the people in the crowd, I don't know, McAfee was annoying. It's all coming back to me now. McAfee was annoying the piss out of me during these 2 nights. Yeah. He was getting on my last good nerve.
Wow.
In the way
I didn't think he was any different than he normally is.
I don't know. Maybe I was just in a mood over this weekend, but it's sort of like how Cole used to feel to me back in the day. And then, you know, you had Wade Barrett as a kind of, you know, the third man there, which was, it was like, okay, well, this is slightly more tolerable because he takes away from McAfee's airtime. So that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, so, I mean, I'm just trying to say maybe not having McAfee in your ear, not the drawback that you think it is.
Okay.
Anyways.
So you had said this would be a 3-star match. I said it would be 2.5 stars. What was your rating for this match?
I was wrong and you were right. I went with 2.5 stars.
I also
very meh.
It wasn't awful. It was average, and so 2.5 stars.
Could have easily been like a TV match.
Yeah. Yep.
And no one would have known the difference. However, I do know, because I did have my my rankings here in show order. So this was the second match of night 1, and after the Uso Gunter opening match. So in a way, this was in the perfect spot. Because ain't no one going to care about that second match.
Nope.
And they delivered a solid, if unremarkable match. And it's like, all right, fine. We we've now like we've we've kind of weathered that storm of the doldrums of the second match. You know, after a big pop for Jey Uso. So
Yep.
yeah.
All right, the next match in our list was Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Well, this one I actually need to put a strikeout here on Mr. Rey Mysterio, because it was not Rey Mysterio who fought El Grande Americano. There was a Rey, but it was Rey Fenix. Rey Mysterio,
by any other name.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio apparently was injured. I mean, talk about just crap luck. Performed live on SmackDown the night before and apparently injured himself. And it was either there or maybe he was on Raw. Actually, he's a Raw wrestler, so I wonder if it was on Raw now that I'm thinking about it. But he injured himself in action, basically.
No, I think it was SmackDown.
Okay, maybe it was SmackDown, but either way, he gets injured just before the event.
Yeah.
And I think has even had some surgery done. I forget on what, but he was pretty seriously injured. So the newly debuted Rey Fenix stepped in like the professional that he is to take on El Grande Americano, which, by the way, I absolutely loved the montage that happened before the match of how El Grande Americano is a hero to all the lucha fans out there. Just superimposing him in different historical events from the past. It's just so ridiculous.
And lest we also forget, I believe this was the night that they announced that WWE had purchased AAA.
AAA, yes.
The lucha promotion. And so they had those dudes stand up.
Yep.
Well, dudes and lady stand up. Who the lady, oh my gosh, if there was ever a real life person who looks like they stepped right out of a Bond movie, holy hell. I don't want to say anything negative about her. She was looking sharp. Like she came correct. Like she came with her stuff in order.
Yes.
And I would never say an ill word towards her, because I would disappear within like 8 hours and I'd be, in some really highly contrived laser sort of thing that's going to slice me in half.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of weird that, especially with how polarizing El Grande Americano has been in lucha circles, that they're like, hey, by the way, we bought a lucha program, and here's Honky Mick Honkerson coming out and wrestling under a luchador mask.
Oh God.
I really hope that there's a big payoff for the lucha fans here, and that this isn't a big troll.
Well, they're kind of, I don't know if this would be considered a payoff, but we did see they called him Vikingo. I had texted you the name I've seen in the past, which you're like, well, that's a mouthful, but it was El Hijo del Vikingo was his name. But just a phenomenal luchador guy. Just fly. He's been in AEW. He's done some just really amazing aerial stuff. But he was there ringside or in the front row. El Grande Americano goes over and jaw jacks, and Vikingo just gives him a nice kick upside the head to kind of start things off. So it was kind of cool to see that. And then he ended up coming. I think Vikingo came in the ring at the end to check on Rey Fenix. But my notes from the match were just just a great entrance by El Grande Americano. I like the way Vikingo kind of nailed him to start the match off, and then just really good action overall to start, including I think they did kind of like a mirror pinfall sequence where they were kind of he and Rey Fenix were kind of mirroring pinfall situations on each other and kind of kicking out, and just having that kind of back and forth. Phoenix was throwing some great kicks. I have a note about a crazy 540 splash by Americano on Phoenix.
Yes.
Good back and forth. But then we got the usual shtick of putting the metal piece in the mask, which was interesting because Phoenix goes to do one of his moves where he runs across the top rope and kicks him, and he ends up, playing it up. He kicks him with the metal piece in the mask and ends up coming up holding his leg. And then, of course, Americano goes up and does his, splash headbutt from the top, which knocks him out. 1, 2, 3, and El Grande Americano is victorious at WrestleMania. So another feather in the cap of El Grande Americano. There also was a little bit of Chad Gable-esque moves during this match, which I know. I do declare.
Oh, my stars.
So, yes. But
right.
your thoughts on the match, sir?
Honestly, I don't
No
remember
notes?
a whole lot of it. I have no notes on anything.
Mhm.
So my memory is spotty at best.
All right.
I do remember enjoying the match though. So
Yeah.
How'd you end up ranking this one in reality, sir?
So in reality, I gave so we both picked El Grande Americano to win because we figured this would be a match that puts that character over. We were correct, so we'll both get 2 points for that. I gave it 3 1/4 stars. My original pick was 3 1/2 stars, so I'm a quarter off the pace. What was your rating, sir?
I went with 3 stars.
All right.
Like it was good, but it was not outstanding.
And I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. That's why I went with 3 1/4. It was not a 3 1/2 star match. I know we're talking about a quarter of a star here, but when you get 3.5, 3.75, 4.0, there's got to be something special to it, and this did not have that. It was definitely above average. Rey Fénix coming in basically on a day notice to have a match with El Grande Americano and the kind of match they had, which in some ways was highlighting Phoenix's unique offense, which I thought was really well done.
Actually, you know what? I think I might be wrong in my ranking.
I'm sorry. Ratings are final as written. Knock it off.
It's just a thought.
Yeah, you can have your thoughts, but no.
All right.
So it looks like I'm +2 up on you so far. Hey, and I just want for the record, I'm doing this in front of you. I'm not making up numbers here. I got the star ratings.
You know I'm not going to go back and double check, so I think all the chicanery is happening after the fact.
You have the show outline
There's
open.
Some creative accounting.
You have the show outline open. You know what I'm writing down.
I know. I'm saying that afterwards you go and you mess with the spreadsheet because you know I can't math for squat.
I do.
Like, you'll never know. A little point here, a little point there.
I do not mess with the math, for crying out loud.
I think you do.
Next match on our table, Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Match number 1 for these two. I'll just run through my notes real quick.
Somehow I don't even have this one on my notes. I must have completely skipped this.
Actually, the only note I have, you know what? I know why I don't have a lot of notes for these either, is I was watching night 1 with both of my kids, and we were talking through these matches, and I wasn't thinking about writing down because I was talking with them and kind of taking it in. So this was an average match with some clunkiness in the move transitions. I was not terribly impressed with this.
Mm-hmm.
We both we did not both. Okay. I thought we both picked Cargill. You picked Naomi. Haha.
I did.
Well, we all know how this turned out. Jade Cargill.
I was wrong.
Jade Cargill wins this, so +2 for the man they called him. And then you had 2.5 stars. I had 2 3/4. I ended up I gave it 2.5 stars. What did you give it, sir?
I don't even have a ranking, but considering you said it was average, I'm going to go with your statement and say I'd give it 2.5 stars.
All right.
I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute.
I was a quarter off the pace, so you get the +1 on this.
All right. Salvage a little bit of dignity.
I should protest because because you did not write it down like you should have. Made it up on the fly. That's all right. I'm just saying.
You are so close to getting DHL to box your dog crap. Just saying.
All right. For the WWE United States Championship, we have the champion, LA Knight versus the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu. This was a really good match.
Was it a slobber knocker, would you say?
It might have been a slobber knocker. Let me see. What notes do I have? Great match. Awesome near falls by both men. Impressive moves by both. Nice touch with Knight catching Fatu midair with the BFT. That was kind of toward the end of the match. I don't know if you remember that. Fatu kind of launched himself toward Knight, and Knight kind of caught him and nailed the BFT.
Vaguely, yeah.
And then interesting offense by Fatu with Knight laid out across the top turnbuckle. I don't know if you remember. I don't remember specifically what the move was, but Fatu did something with Knight across the top turnbuckle where you're just like, "Oh, that looked like it hurt." It was pretty different and pretty unique. Great near falls, and then Fatu's moonsault to finish was great. I love that spring moonsault he does. Just incredible agility and physicality.
He just looks like a dude who should not be able to do that.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. 100%. 100%. We both picked LA Knight to win. Oh, you should use that sound clip. You're wrong. Oh, wait a minute.
You're wrong.
Oh, it's still on there?
Yeah.
Oh, what did you remove off to put?
You're wrong.
I took Doc Holliday off.
Oh, that's right. I'm a Huckleberry. All right.
Yeah.
There it is, LA Knight. Unfortunately, it was not LA Knight's night. Get it? And so he loses the championship to Jacob.
I'm going to make it through both nights of this recap.
Fatu. We both gave it 3.25 stars. I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. I actually very much enjoyed this match. What did you give it?
I gave it 3.75 stars.
So you gave it 3.75. I gave it 3.5. I get the points based on.
See, because I'm an honorable and fair co-host.
As am I. I'm very fair. I just don't make up my results as we go. That's all. So
no, you go back and you slither around in the background.
I do not.
Yes, you do. You slither.
I do not. No slithering here.
Slithering through your bacon grease.
All right. For the WWE Women's Championship, the challenger, Charlotte Headcase Flair, against Tiffany Stratton. Let's see. I had Tiffany winning. You had Charlotte Flair winning. We each had guessed this would be a 2-star affair. We had high hopes for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Good God Almighty!
And they were not met.
They were not met. My first note on this match: car wreck of a match. Literally was my first note.
Not a great note considering one of the participants showed up in a car.
Yes. The striking shots looked a little stiff. The action was clunky and not smooth. I have a note here. Tiffany needs to cut down the hair. It was really hard. And this is funny. Like I never would have thought of this until I watched LFG, but a couple times Bubba Ray Undertaker would call out especially for the ladies. And I think it was one or two guys that had long hair, but when they're in the match and the hair is covering the face, it's like, and they're the baby face, he's like, how am I supposed to react to anything? And Tiffany in this case was the baby face, and her hair was just all over the place. Couldn't see her face, couldn't see her reaction. Yeah. And so it actually stood out to me a little bit. Like, I'm just like, God, cut your hair down, because this is like ridiculous.
Yeah, you got to put it up. You got to figure out a different style, because there is that thing, and it is much more important, because usually when the heel is reacting, those are going to be quieter moments. So you can do a hair flip, you can pull back the hair or whatever, and show it then, and there can be kind of a menace to the hair being in the face for a heel. For the baby face, for the good guy, you want to be able to identify and empathize with them. So seeing a facial expressions is important.
Yep.
I mean, it's not everything, because there's exceptions to every rule, but yeah, I can definitely see that point.
You'll love my next note. Right person won, thank goodness. I was very happy to see Tiffany win. If Flair had won, I think she would have been booed out of the arena. And then my last note was Flair needs a reset, and that's 3 months into her comeback. So that was my
3 months into her comeback. And has she even wrestled before today or before WrestleMania? No,
not a whole lot.
So not really even that much of a comeback. Oh no, she was in the Rumble.
Fair enough. My rating for this match was right on the nose, 2 stars. We both gave it 2 stars. I felt 2 stars was what it deserved. So I get +2 for getting the winner. What did you give it for your star rating, sir?
To hell with the points on this one. I gave this one 1 star.
Ooh, yeah. Man, you were not a fan of this, huh?
No,
Oh,
no,
boy.
not even a little bit.
Oh,
Not even a little bit.
not good.
Nope.
All right. So Tiffany takes this one. Man, they call Tim out to a roaring lead now. Let's see. This was actually the first match of the night, but we have it as next to last here on our table. But WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the Ring General Gunther versus our everyone's favorite Yeet Man and main event Jey Uso. We both had Jey Uso winning this one, which he was the winner. I can run through my notes real quick. Let's see. Really enjoyed the starting slap versus fist, knocking Gunther down. Gunther was trying to, use his chops, I think, and Jey was coming out, with some pretty heavy bombs to take him down. Loved Jey showing some fire when he was getting chopped. Nasty chop to Jey on the top turnbuckle, knocking him outside. That just stood out to me. Let's see. Spear by Jey on Gunther looked good. Nice near fall. Good sequence by Gunther to get Jey in the power bomb in near fall. Good sequence by Jey spearing and then hitting the top rope splash for a near fall. Nasty belt shot by Gunther, but a good near fall there. The sleeper hold sequence was good. I think this was Gunther. Nice back and forth strikes between the two. Crazy sequence with Jey hitting multiple super kicks and splashes. I was telling my kids, watch, he's going to hit all 4 corners. I think he did 3 out of the 4.
Yeah, he didn't hit the 4th.
Didn't hit the 4th, but man, I was really surprised by the sleeper that he slapped on. I'm like, what the heck is that?
Yes.
And that
was shocking.
That was unexpected, and yet I liked it. It was different, and I liked it, and it was very surprising. Gunther tapped out. He didn't go to sleep and have the 3 arms fall. He tapped out.
Yeah.
So that was conscious by the Ring General to give up, basically. So my goodness. So yeah, Jey Uso walks out as the new World Heavyweight Champion. What was your star rating for this? So I said I picked 3 stars. This was my guess. This was not my my pick for the evening. When you and I were guessing here, I said 3.0. You said 2.5.
Yes.
What did you end up giving this?
I went with 3 3/4 stars.
Oh wow! Okay, 3 3/4.
I was very impressed by this match. It and that was partially just because I had already had, it might be a little artificially inflated just because my expectations for Jey Uso were so low. But I really felt like Gunther brought out a lot in him, and I felt like Jey actually had done some work to increase his repertoire and to. I'm not trying to say, oh, it was 90% Gunther. No, I felt like Jey actually put in a lot of work to meet Gunther at his level, at where he was at, and to be a better participant in this match than he has been in a lot of the matches where I'm like, oh my gosh, when's this gonna be done?
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 3/4.
You're gonna be shocked by what I gave it.
Hang on, let me sit down. Oh wait, I am. Okay.
I gave it 2 1/4.
Really?
So I was expecting this. I was not expecting a lot from this match because of Jey Uso. I know Gunther would try to carry it to be something good. I thought it was above average, but I still struggle sometimes with Jay's offense. And
so wait a minute, you gave it 2 1/4 or 2 3/4?
Sorry, 2 3/4. 2
okay,
3/4.
because I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, did I say a quarter? I'm sorry. No,
I thought
2.
You might have. I don't know.
2 3/4.
Okay.
So it was an above average match, but I still I was struggling with Jay's. I had a lot of positive things to say, I realized in my notes, but I was still struggling with Jay's offense. I felt, in some ways, I felt this was Gunther coming down to Jay's level as opposed to trying to bring Jay up to his level. There wasn't a lot of wrestling in it. There was a lot of striking. There was a lot of fists and slaps and kicks and things of that nature. And I was a little surprised to not see Gunther bring more of the wrestling into it. Let Jay do his shtick, but Gunther's throwing him around with suplexes or other stuff. I just felt like Gunther was playing into or maybe that was the story of the match. I don't know, but it just felt like he was playing into Jay's, kind of his offense in a way.
Mhm.
And so it I enjoyed the match, but it didn't blow me away,
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe it was the surprise too of the finish where it was a sleeper hold out of nowhere and he tapped out. I just felt that was just really not a characteristic of Gunther. I would, even though Gunther's the heel, I would see him passing out before tapping out. And so
You would hope. Yeah.
and so it just kind of surprised me that way. So I think in the moment I just was like, okay, it was better than I thought it was going to be, but it didn't blow me away,
Mhm.
So I went with 2 3/4 on that one. So
All right.
so that is where I landed on it.
So you still get points. Good for you.
Well, I'm sorry. It's just how it goes.
How it goes when you're running things. No, that's
Just-
that's a +2 for me, sir. That's a +2 for me, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you for catching me. My mistake.
There we go. The chicanery in action here, saying
Will
that it's
you
all on the up
stop?
and up.
Will you
All
stop?
on the up and up.
All right, Bobby. Now I know how Gorilla Monsoon felt.
Well, that's all right. I liked Bobby's wardrobe. It was very nice. The monogram shirts.
Oh yeah.
The speckled. Oh, is that the new riff?
This is the new riff. It is all gone.
This is the last of the petty cash.
This is the last.
I almost bought a bottle of that the other last night for band rehearsal.
Ooh.
And I opted instead for Russell's 10-year reserve because it was right around the same price.
Not too shabby.
Oh, that is a fine bottle of bourbon for
that is
$43 here in Maine.
Very nice.
Very lovely.
Very nice. All right. Finally, our main event. Before we talk about this match.
Oh boy.
No.
Do I need to gird my loins for this?
I think you will agree with this.
I might do it anyways, just for practice.
Go ahead and gird your loins. But do you not agree? Good God. I didn't realize girding your loins required the shoulder shuffle.
It's a full body motion, sir.
Good God.
I mean, at my age, you have to get a little something extra in there.
Get a little shimmy going on over there. The loin gird and shimmy. Here we are.
It's only legal in 10 states.
So my kids never watched WWE when Punk was in it. We started watching together kind of after he was gone, and they were kind of they were part of that fan base that was still following Cena. Like they really liked John Cena when it was kind of the end of his run. So to my surprise, we get Roman's entrance, we get Seth's entrance. And then we get and they had done this for one other match. I forget what match it was, but there was one other character where they had kind of like maybe it was El Grande Americano, now that I'm thinking about it. Like before his entrance, they did that goofy thing. And I thought they did it for someone else. But there's this hype video that starts where and I will admit, at close to 50 years old, I'm a fanboy of the CM Punk character.
Yep.
But I absolutely loved the hype video they did for him, where it plays off of his promo when he first came into WWE and him as himself now saying the very words that his younger self was saying, and them going back and forth like that. Them in a lot of ways, I felt like it was kind of like either a reminder or an introduction of who he was. And I just looked over at my kids and they were both like just entranced by it. And I'm like, this is why I like this guy. Like I just said to him, like, this is why I like this wrestler. And they used his old theme song, and they used the footage from his past run. Best line in that hype package that I just just brilliant was "Pressure is my playground." I
Yes.
absolutely love that phrase.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing him say it with such conviction was like, how do you not get like fired up for this match now? Like, you want to see this guy, like, go get him,
Yeah.
And then to have the hype video end with his old entrance theme, to go right into Vernon Reed going into what was an electric solo, like just amazing, bringing a little Eddie Van Halen into it as well toward the end. And the best part was when he finishes and he's just looking up with a sheepish look like, where do I go now? Oh yeah. I mean, he just goes right into it. And it was just amazing. And they just go right into the Cult of Personality song. And then Punk's entrance. I mean, I've watched the like that entrance a few times now, and everything about it was just like spot on perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Punk coming out with Heyman, kind of standing with each member of the band. I love who's the bass player?
Oh, I don't know, but he's a mofo. Oh, he's a monster.
Doug
player.
Wimbish. When so basically Punk first, kind of poses in front of the drummer Will Calhoun. Then he walks over to Vernon Reed, puts an arm around him while he's playing, which, I'm kind of watching him too. Like, you got to probably be careful, like, your interaction with them, because they're playing,
Yes.
like, you don't want to mess with the timing because then the song doesn't sound good, And then he walks over to the bass player, Doug Wimbish. And I love the look, like, watch it back again. Like, Wimbish has got this look like, what's going on, player? He's just playing the groove and he's like, what's going on?
And such a monster, underappreciated bass player too. Like, anyone,
Absolutely.
if you're a bass player and you want to try and learn Cult of Personality,
that bass
good
part,
luck.
I have embarked on that journey a couple years ago. I would like to pick it up again, but dude, that is an incredibly hard bass part to play.
Because you're doubling the riff, first of all.
Yes.
And then you get into the verse, and he's got his own thing going.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then Punk walks over to Corey Glover,
who is singing his ass off and sounds just as good now as he did back in the 90s.
Yes. And what does Glover do as the camera pans around? Oh, it's selfie time, baby. And he takes a selfie as he's singing, and he's just nailing the notes. He's nailing the song. And then Punk walks out, and this is the part I love.
Oh, yeah.
He gets down on the knee. He's ready to do the clobber in time, check his watch, and he's like shaking his wrist like the watch isn't working. And there's Heyman. Boom, there it is. Gives him the watch. And then I really love this. And I know the way the story played out that night. But what I loved Heyman pulling the hood back and giving him a kiss on the forehead, because like, you got to know, for both of them, this was like the culmination of all the time they spent together back in the 2000s when Punk was learning from Heyman in OVW.
Yep.
All of that history the two of them have, like that. And I don't know if you notice, like, Punk's on it, and sorry I'm being like geeky like this, but if you look at the right shoulder, his right shoulder of his zip up, there's like some tan coloring on it. It looks like discolored. And and when I looked at it again, I looked at Heyman. Heyman was wearing some bronzer, I think, to make himself look tan. I think Heyman and Punk had a little hug before they went out. You know what I mean? Like,
Heyman's been self tanning a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you could tell on Monday Night Raw.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so he, anyways, I thought that was just a cool moment for the two of them. And then just, the walk down to the ring. And then the thing that stood out to me was, going back to what you just said about Corey Glover, his freaking vocals, when you listen to that at the end, like, he's hitting some crazy notes at the very end of that song. And it, like, when they're done playing the song, it sounds like a rock concert, the way the fans sound.
Yes.
Like, Punk's just standing there and the crowd just explodes.
Well, because it's not the normal thing of, like,
right.
They just kind of cut the music or whatever, like, mid whatever. Like, it's like a definitive, like, okay, well, we're going to get to this point.
Yep.
And the song has got to end, because we just can't, like, cut it anywhere.
Right.
Like, they cut it where it made sense and then left space for the crowd.
Yeah.
Which was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That moment, that entire entrance was amazing. I was like goosebumps on goosebumps on goosebumps.
Hands down, and I include the hype video as part of it. I think hands down that was probably one of the best entrances in a long time at
Yes.
WrestleMania because it so fit the character. There was so much story and history behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some of it was lost on more casual fans who aren't aware of, like, you know, Punk and Heyman's history the way that you and I are. But no, I just, it was just perfect in every way. Funny thing is, I have no notes for this match because I was so enthralled with the match.
Mm-hmm.
The match was so damn good
Mm-hmm.
with all three of them playing their roles pitch perfect. Just phenomenal action. The brawl, and the best part was, and this is just fun for me as a father, is both of my kids were not like half watching the match and half on their phone. Like, phones were down, like they were watching the match.
Yes.
And they were like, and they were reacting to things in a way that was appropriate to what the action go. Like when Punk and Rollins are brawling out in the crowd, and Punk takes, I think it was Punk or Rollins, took the garbage can lid and nailed the other one with a garbage. Like my younger one starts cracking up, thought that looked hysterical. But that's exactly the point. It does. It looks ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's violent, but it looks really ridiculous when he does it.
Well, yeah, because how many metal trash cans do you think are in the Las Vegas
Right.
stadium?
Right. 100%. 100%.
But that's the thing. Like, it's getting. That is the beauty of, you know, of professional wrestling and
Yes.
of the entire thing, is like being able to get some of those things that are kind of lame or hokey.
Yep.
And getting it over.
Yes.
So that you know, like, it gets a reaction, but not like a reaction.
Right.
Like a reaction that's like either funny or draws people in.
Right.
You're too late.
I
already. Go ahead and save your knees. It's okay.
I love I love how she opens the door and then she crouches down.
Yeah. She's young, so she still has use of her knees.
Yeah, that would have done me in if I tried that.
Oh, I couldn't even try. I would never gotten up off the floor.
all you'd see is me try to go down on my knees like that, and then you'd see me go ass over tea kettle with my feet.
Your feet would just be up, be like a little turtle stuck on your back. All right, so here, before we get to our rating on the night one main event, we have Kaylin's Comedy Corner. What's going on? Aren't you a little late for bedtime here? Isn't it a little? Okay. Well, so what do you have for our listeners / viewers for this comeback episode after a 2-week absence? All right, and that's Kaylin's Comedy Corner.
Was that a breath? Was that a laugh? What was that?
That was an exhalation, if you will.
Oh, okay.
If you will.
If you will.
I do have a lovely realization.
Why are you're like flapping your blankie like it's a butterfly wing or something? It's kind of funny, cute, and also terrifying at the same time. I can't quite figure out that mixture. Come over here and do that.
Ah, yes.
It's like Mothra.
I think there's some butterfly action going on there.
I feel like we need to call in Godzilla.
Can I say one thing?
Oh boy, yes.
If you can convey a note.
I'm playing Squanto. I'm now the translator. Yes.
A note of congratulations on her college selection.
On your college selection, which we won't be sharing on the podcast.
No, I'm simply going to say on her college selection.
There is a college selection.
Yes.
So that's a good idea.
But apparently I don't think she fully understands that, so I have to just shut her down quick and easy.
Good luck with that.
Sorry, I missed half of that. What were we shutting down?
Apparently, the mother unit would like Kaylin to share her college selection on Instagram, but Kaylin is saying that it's not it's a security risk.
Violation.
Mr. President needs to be kept safe.
Secret Service and all, you know.
Oh,
do you have any thoughts that you'd like to share? Anything at all? Doesn't have to be a joke. Anything at all?
Well, weather sucks right now. That's my first note.
Can't argue with that.
We're going with the Mothra thing again. What?
Guess Guess who comes back next month?
I don't know.
1 month, and then all of BTS will be back from the army.
Who's BTS again?
Oh my gosh, you are ancient relic of this world.
I think you just got verbally slapped down there.
Before we proceed any further, do you think you could pay for your college off of your ice
here
cream
we
scooping
go.
job this summer?
No.
Do you wish to retract anything that you just said?
No.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's pretty much on track.
Drama.
But yeah, even John Cena is a BTS fan. He knows who BTS is.
Yeah, John Cena's a bad guy, so whatever.
Yeah, in the wrestling universe, he's just a derpy dude in real life.
This much is true.
Hmm.
All right, so BTS, of course, is K-pop. Are they like the OG, like the OG big K-pop band? Okay, see, I know.
Them and Blackpink are the I think it's 4th gen leaders, which is like the generation before this one. So Stray Kids is 5th gen, BTS is 4th gen, and they basically like paved the way for all of like the 5th gen and 6th gen people.
So is Blackpink involve any members of the Hart family by any chance?
No.
I can hope, you know.
Jenny, Lisa, Rose. Oh, I always forget the last one. I feel bad.
Is it like Donna?
No, it's a J name. I keep forgetting the J names.
Donna.
Oh, Donna.
What? No, not Jisoo. That's a different group. Anyway,
All right. Anyways.
I'm excited. You're excited? Because they're going to be back for the army, and then they're going to go on tour, and then they might perform at Coachella, and then they'll be back, and everything's going to be happy, and we're totally going to ignore the fact that they're like twice their size now. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. This is what happens when they come back from the army. It's getting weird. I'm like, let's go back to like 5 years ago, please. Trust me.
Aren't they like 50 now, too?
No, I think they're in their 30s now.
Oh, well, God, they're ancient. Okay, anyways. You need to, you do, even in spite of having a raging case of senioritis at this point and being on the back 9 of your senior year.
And a lot of boredom.
You do need to go to bed. So, because it's 10:44 here on the East Coast and...
You're watching Perspectives.
There we go. Nice.
It's good to know of all the things I failed at in parenting. I've got one win.
What? That's cutting it real close on your achievements.
I can't deny that. But anyways, you need to go to bed, and we need to get into night 2 of the WrestleMania so that I can go to bed. All right? So, good night. God bless. Love you.
Love you too. How does it feel that my latest video that I posted got 1,000 views in 1 hour?
We will not be speaking of that. So good night. Good night, sweet princess.
Your time will come.
My time will come, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Kaylin's torturing her father corner.
Yes, it is.
So, your time will eventually come. Maybe that'll change.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.
I'll delete your Instagram in the morning.
Good luck. I hide all my passwords.
Always has to have the last word, right?
So anyway, where were we?
I think we were...
It was a great match.
It was a great match.
It was phenomenal. It was a lot of fun to watch.
It was, yeah. It was, just action was phenomenal. The storytelling was great. It was just, it was like not high octane energy, but it was just it had an energy about it throughout. Like there was not a. I mean, I guess there were points where things slow down a little, but I mean, it just with all three of them, you know, two would kind of split off in brawl, and then the third one would all of a sudden pop in out of nowhere, and then a different two would brawl, and then the one who was off screen popped in, and they just did an awesome job. And then, of course, we get to the very end with the storytelling, of course, of, you know, the big twist being, you know, Seth is down, Heyman's got the chair, Roman and Punk are both looking at him like, give it to me. He gives the chair to Punk. Punk gets ready to waffle Roman. And then we get Heyman with the nut shot heard round the world on Punk, which, you know, of course, the entire crowd's like, oh my gosh, you know, Heyman's turn, which we talked about this. This is about the only way this story can go and stay compelling. No, I think I called that one first. So
No, you.
I'm just kidding. Uncle Todd gets the credit on that one. Yeah. Okay. You know, just relax. I got you, brother. Yeah. Okay. RVD. Thank you very much. And so,
And you know what? Damn it. I'm giving myself a Barry Horowitz on that
I
one
think
as
you
well.
deserve one. And then, of course, Reigns thinks he's got it in the bag. And then I love Heyman, you know, almost like, just like, behold, Seth Rollins is at your doorstep, you know, and go and like waffle him. And then not only did Heyman give Reigns a nut shot, he nut shotted him and then seemed to do a little of this across. It's like, already.
There was a bit of a stirring action going on.
Yeah, it was a little, okay. All right.
Feels like we're getting a little personal here.
Yeah. And then best part is Rollins standing up and not even looking at Heyman and just putting out his right hand, and Heyman placing the chair in it. And then Rollins waffling Reigns with a chair shot and then curb stomping him for the 1, 2, 3 and the victory. And, you know, I know we hear about, or, you know, in interviews and have read about, you know, Rollins' disdain for Punk, but I got to tell you, it is to me a testament of, you know, all three of these guys and their professionalism that, you know, this is Punk's first WrestleMania main event. He did not have to be the winner. He, you know, for this story to advance and for there to be some compelling stuff to follow it, this is the way it had to go. And the right person won. And I don't think Punk lost anything. I mean, I think he's even on record saying, if this is how my career ends, I think, or this is my last WrestleMania, like this was a great way to go out. You know, like he was content with the match. He was content with how it went. They told the story they needed to tell. And it was phenomenal. So really enjoyed it. You know, I didn't go as far as giving it. So we both selected Seth Rollins as the winner.
Correct.
So we each get a +2 on that. And then for star rating, I gave it. I ended up giving it 4.5. I didn't give it 5, but I mean, it was right up there. It was just a phenomenal main event. Lived up to the hype. Action was great. Oh, by the way, when those nut shots happen, both of my kids are just laughing their heads off at the whole thing. Like, you know, they weren't so into the story where it was like the shocking turn, but just the visage of Heyman doing that was just comedic to them. And it was great. You know, we had a good laugh. We enjoyed it. I mean, they enjoyed the match greatly too. And so, so it was awesome. So what was your rating?
I went with 4.5.
Did you? Okay.
I'll agree. So I originally went with 4 stars, but I'll suffer the losing of a point for the sake of saying that was a really damn good match. So yes.
That and what a great main event. What a great main event overall. So yeah, that was night 1. We did have some side bets that we'll run through real quick. We'll see which ones landed and which ones did not. I do need to say before we go through the side bets, because a lot of them involve, you know, outside interference and some matches and stuff. Really clean event overall. Like not a lot of matches had, you know, interference in them and, you know, the normal ballyhoo. So that was interesting. But I'll run through Uncle Todd's first, and we'll assign points as we go here. So Uncle Todd had in the Jade Cargill Naomi match, he had Bianca Belair interferes and costs Cargill the match. She did not show up at all. That match was a clean win. So that did not happen. Of course, as I have said, no points are taken away, simply awarded. So Randy Orton backs up LA Knight in the Jacob Fatu LA Knight match. That did not happen. I kind of talked him into this one. Nia Jax shows up to aid Charlotte Flair. Much to Uncle Todd's joy and happiness, Nia Jax was nowhere to be found in WrestleMania night.
No, but apparently she was on Monday Night Raw.
This is true. This one you get a +1 for. In Living Color will perform CM Punk's entrance. So we do have, let's see, we have a +1.
Put it in my column. Put it in my column, please.
I did. I put it in yours. And then we have Paul Heyman betrays Roman Reigns and CM Punk, which allows Rollins to win. That did happen. So you get a +2 or +1 for that. But now you have 2 extra points. And then Paul Heyman leaves with Seth Rollins. That is, in fact, what had happened. So Uncle Todd comes out 3 points ahead in the side bet so far. We'll go through mine. For the Jacob Fatu LA Knight match, Solo Sikoa interferes and costs Fatu the match and the championship. That did not happen. I then had Randy Orton backs up LA Knight. That did not happen. Nia Jax shows up to aid Charlotte Flair. That did not happen. In Living Color will perform CM Punk's entrance. That did happen. Paul Heyman betrays CM Punk, which allows Rollins to win. That technically happened.
I feel this is a little, because it feels like it's almost like this leads to that. That's the only thing. And I feel like if we were to judge this in the most just way, I get the point and you don't, because we would compare these two and say who is the writer of the two, but that is not the way that we have ever judged side bets. So do as you will, sir. Whatever your conscience allows is how I will say. Let your conscience be your guide.
Because I'm thumping you so badly, I think I'll let the point go.
Great. Now I'm a charity case. Turn into Free Range Idiocy soup kitchen here. This is great.
And then the last one, Paul Heyman leaves.
Give yourself the point. I don't care.
No. Paul Heyman leaves with Seth Rollins. I got that right. So coming out of the side bets, I had +2, you had +3. So now I'm going to total all this up. So Uncle Todd has, let's say, 2, 4, 5.
We can total
7,
it up later if you want.
9. So for night 1, Uncle Todd is up +12. I have 3.
Somehow
6,
it's a +32. It's going to be amazing.
9, 12, 15, 18, 20 points on night 1. I'm sorry. It's how it happened, my friend. How it happened. All right. So coming out of night 1, Man They Call Tim is at 20 points. Uncle Todd's at 12. Now we go into night 2.
No, now we go into a bathroom break.
Oh, now we go into a bathroom break. All right.
And I'm going to go in the bathroom and tinkle and cry.
A few moments later.
All right. Now we can get into night 2, which will probably increase the drubbing. How do you want to lead this one off, sir?
I will, let's see. Let's start it off with, I almost forgot on night 1, the attendance record for the Allegiant Stadium audience was 61,467 in attendance.
Who announced that?
Good question.
I think it was night 2 is Stone Cold.
Night 2 is Stone Cold. Wait a minute. Night 1 was Shawn Michaels, and I remember that.
That's right.
Because when he comes out, he's holding the card toward the camera.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is he out? And then I see the card, and I'm like, oh, I see what he's doing.
How do you think it feels like at Shawn Michaels' age to be still like prancing out to a song called "Sexy Boy"? It's got to be a little weird for him at some point. Like, I hope that it's because he's never had like another theme.
No,
it was like the Rockers and then that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of stuck with that forever now.
Yep.
Oh boy. Anyways,
yep. It's kind of interesting.
Coming out for his Hall of Fame induction with a walker.
Hasn't he already been inducted?
Yeah, but I'm sure he'll find another way to induct him for something.
But to your point, yeah, he's going to get to 60, and it's like, are you still going to go prancing out there like the sexy boy?
How old is he? Hang on a second. I'm now curious. Shawn Michaels' age. He's 59 years old right now.
He's almost there.
His birthday is July 22nd.
His birthday is what?
July 22nd. He's hitting. Is that you too? I forgot. I thought yours was the 23rd.
Nope.
So you and the Heartbreak Kid sharing a birthday, and he hits the big 6-0 this year, sir.
Wow. And I'm hitting the big 5-0.
Landmarks all the way around, and damn, are we fracking old.
We are.
Anyways.
We're young and hot. Young and hot. All right, night 2. Let's get into it.
You've already had part of your heart fricasseed. Do you really want to go with the young and hard thing? I'm just saying.
It's still running, baby. It's still running.
And thank God for that. I'm just saying.
I know. All right. First match on our table. I don't know if this was the first match of the. I don't think this was the first match of the evening because I think it was the women's championship match.
It was.
Yeah. But in our table of matches, we have WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. You're going to love how this looks, ladies and gentlemen. I think I have more cross-offs in this row than we have in the entire history of doing these picks because there was chicanery that occurred back on was Friday?
Also ballyhoo? I can't quite remember.
I think there was some ballyhoo.
Perhaps a shenanigan or
and
three.
I think there were shenanigans. But Bayley was mysteriously attacked Friday. I think it was Friday evening. I think it was on SmackDown, potentially. And she was it was called into question whether she could compete, and then she was ruled out, which was very strange. There was a lot of fan angst about this because how dare we pull Bayley off the WrestleMania event for some story or whatever. Little did people realize what this was setting up, which was the return of Becky Lynch.
I don't know.
And so we have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, the champions, taking on the challengers of Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. Both you and I originally had picked Liv and Raquel to win. I have a strikeout here. I kept it here. I didn't delete it because I wanted to just call out how we completely went a 180 on this once we saw it was Becky Lynch and said, nah, it's going to be Valkyria and Lynch walking away with the gold, and that one paid off.
This was very much in the live text stream of night 2. Instantly, here's the new pick.
Yes, indeed. So, we have Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. I think I might have some notes on this. Let me double check.
I mean, Lyra did the bulk of the work for the faces.
She did.
Which is expected. And then Becky came in with her kind of half good, half not so good offense, but still got a huge pop. And hey,
Yeah, I didn't really have any notes of note to go through, but it was overall a decent match. It was definitely above average. The women gave great effort, and a couple of the notes I just have just are around just a number of nice near falls. Lyra was the face in peril to the heels. They took their time beating the snot out of her while Becky was on the outside. I have a note, Lyra with a slow burn DDT on the outside. I forget what I meant by that, but there was some impressive DDT she did on the outside. And then Becky finishing it with the manhandle slam for the victory and the belts. And so for at least a short period of time, Lyra Valkyria was Lyra 2 belts. But we both get a +2 on the winners because it was Valkyria and Lynch who won it. Question now comes down to I guessed it would be a 3.5-star match. You guessed it would be a 3-star match. What did you come in at?
I went right with 3. It felt above average, but it was not that far above average.
All right. So 3. I came in with I was with you on that. I came in at 3.25. So I don't get any points because I was a quarter off the pace. You were dead on, so I get +2. So you cut slightly into my lead.
Slightly. Ever so slightly.
Very slightly. All right, next match in our table, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. I have a few notes on this one. Nice action to start. I don't know why I write notes down because I can't even remember what I'm thinking about when I write or what I saw that made me write this. But great move by Styles using the apron on Paul. Oh, did he do something where he put Paul in between the apron and the ring or something like that? Like he pulled the ring apron off and put him in between it and then was beating the tar out of him.
Dude, I barely remember what I had for lunch yesterday.
All right.
He might have, but
nasty
maybe not.
lion salt from across the ring by Paul, where he just launched himself from one side of the ring to the other. That was impressive.
That was impressive. That was like 3/4 of the way across the ring.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Logan Paul is a hell of an athlete. There's no denying that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice slingshot clothesline, also called the buckshot lariat, by Paul on Styles. They had dueling Styles clashes, and Paul with the right hand and pulverizer finisher. Hey, Karrion Kross shows up, telling AJ he's got to dirty his hands a little bit, and AJ won't have anything to do with it, and he loses the match. So this makes Karrion Kross cross. But nonetheless, Logan Paul is our winner, and that is both a +2 for you and I. We both predicted Paul would get the victory here over the veteran Styles, and it was a great match. It was a really good match. I gave this one, where is it? Whoops.
You had this one ranked real high. I'm kind of curious if you matched
I gave
up
this
to
3.5 stars sorry.
Okay.
My guess was 4.25 stars. I gave it 3.5. You guessed 3.75. What did you give it?
I gave it 3.75 because again, this to me like 3.75
convenient.
3.5 to I'd say 4 is very good.
Yeah.
Above average 2.5 to about 3.5. Okay. Very good is kind of that range. Once you get above 4, to me it's like 4 and above is really that. Actually 4.25 is like really where you get to that. Okay, now this is something special.
And I thought it could have been Styles and Paul. They're both athletic. They're both good.
I mean, if you're going to pick something here like that to me is probably the dark horse candidate, because you do have these two uber athletic, people, and honestly, AJ Styles kind of has been busting out some stuff that he hasn't in a while, and yeah, there was the possibility. It just didn't quite ever get over that hump. It was still really good, fun ass match to watch for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, it looks like you get +3. I get +2. So right now on night 2, you're up 2 points on me.
We'll see how that turns out.
It's minuscule for the +8 that I have on you from that. Just saying.
You almost made me cuss on the show here. All right.
Next match we have Randy Orton versus a mystery opponent. You were we were both kind of texting about this a little bit. We thought it might be Aleister Black. It might be, a time for him to return. But we overthought this one because say his name and he will appear. I believe in Joe Hendry. And Joe Hendry the TNA World Champion, did appear. This was really cool. I thought it was a great way to kind of showcase, himself as a talent and as the champion, of that promotion on the biggest stage of them all. And even though he did, he ate the RKO like a champ. They did have he did twice. They did have a good match. Hendry was able to, get some offense in on Orton. He didn't look like a total chump. But at the end of the day, we knew what this match was going to be. This was going to be a match where Orton was going to get one over on whoever his opponent was. This was what was it? Was it his 20th year? I think.
I want to say you're right. Yeah.
With Wrestlemania, and so yeah, it was kind of the time for Randy Orton to be in the spotlight, and he puts Joe Hendry away with the RKO. Does the
handshake.
Does the handshake? Yeah. So gives him his props. Does the handshake? Shows him respect, but
no, he did show him a little respect.
Yeah. I guess it would be respect. Like it's not
immediately RKO'd again.
But to be honest, like what I appreciated about this was the fact that look, and I haven't read anything, in the wrestling websites I go to. No one from the TNA promotion was upset about the booking of this.
No.
So like. The less informed would look at this and say, how could a promotion put their world champion out there to just get beat that by another promotion's champion, and Randy's a legend, no doubt.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Which gives you a lot of latitude there.
Right. Future Hall of Famer. And so I think this was the right thing to do. I don't think TNA or Joe Hendry as a talent or as a champion loses anything here. This was a great feature for him to be a part of, and in a lot of ways, I think Orton elevated him with the respect shown. This was what it was meant to be. It was a showcase for Randy, and Joe Hendry came in, did a serviceable job, and popped the crowd. I mean, the crowd was into it. They were singing a song. They were, and that's the point. They want to entertain, and he is an entertaining talent. And so it was great to see him. So Orton wins. We both picked Orton in kind of a last minute
in another hasty, text pick.
Yep. So we each get a +2. I ended up giving this match 2.5 stars, and my on the fly guess was 2.75. So I'm a quarter off the pace. You gave this 3.5 stars. What was your final rating?
Hang on a second. I gotta look my phone keeps on timing out, and now it's not even recognizing my face. So I must really look great at this point in the evening. Let me find this one.
Well, you are an ancient relic of old. So.
Yes, which I've just been informed of. I gave this one 3.25 star.
3.25. So we're both a quarter off the pace. All right. So do we each get a +1 then?
I mean, a +1, or we just neither one of us gets one. It's the same difference. Whatever makes you feel better.
All right. Well, we'll do that.
I enjoyed this for what it was, and I agree with your sentiment that it doesn't hurt them, because I think this is one of those things. There's times when you get exceptions, where there's gimmies, and this is one of them where I think most fans recognize what was going on here, and they're just kind of happy to be part of it. Like, oh, okay, like, yeah, KO was supposed to be here, and we were going to have that, and now we don't, so now we get this. And I don't think that, again, like, nobody's going to knock 1,000 points off Joe Hendry for this. It was fun. And sometimes it's okay just to have something that's fun, Like, they had some good back and forth. Hendry looked strong at times, but of course, Randy's getting the win. And then you get the little show of respect, which I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. At the same time, you're like, he's totally going to hit him again.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way that Hendry's walking out of here with Randy Orton. And then, of course, he hits him with again. And then Randy does the Joe Hendry turn.
Yes, that was great. That was great.
Which, again, sometimes it's just okay to have fun. It's just okay to have fun. And Randy Orton is the perfect person to do that at this point in his career, because we've seen that out of him so much in, like, the last year, like that match in Germany against Gunther when, he was applauding the crowd and just sort of soaking it in. Like, this is pretty freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he has so much house money at this point that it just works.
Yeah.
So no, it was a fun little, I mean, it was technically a match, but it was more of an interlude, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. If you will.
All
right, we both come out +2 on this one. The next one in our table, the Sin City Street Fight, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. We each chose McIntyre as the winner, and McIntyre was the winner, so we each get a +2.
Mm-hmm.
But I was actually pleasantly surprised by this match. My guess for star rating was 3.75. I didn't think this would creep into the 4-star range, but I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was really well done. It was a great brawl. They were both, just really being brutal with each other. I have a note, early use of the furniture, to quote Uncle Corny. Drew is apparently stair happy. And
he
then
does love him some stairs. Yeah,
he does. And then I had a note, not sure what happened. There was a spot where Priest threw the chair, hit Drew, and then Drew kept going with the Claymore. It was like a glancing blow of the chair, but he still, like, connected with the Claymore. The Razor's Edge through the table looked sick. The Future Shock on the stairs was sick. There was just a lot of really just brutal action between these two. And, I wasn't sure how this was going to come across. McIntyre, I figured could pull his weight. I just wasn't sure about Priest, but they both had a really brutal brawl, and it was fun to watch, and so I enjoyed it. So Drew wins it. I actually gave this 4 stars.
Whoa,
I gave it 4. So quarter off the pace.
For me, I had very low expectations for this, or I guess you could say middling expectations, because I picked 2.75. My goodness,
Mm-hmm.
I suck at math. You think I'd be all right at pronunciation, but so I had 2.75 stars as my prediction. I actually ended up giving this one 3.5.
Nice.
It was entertaining, good back and forth, and I really feel like at this point, McIntyre is the more proven commodity for sure.
Yeah.
Especially, and a lot of that comes from the Punk feud.
Yeah.
There's a lot of goodwill coming off of the Punk feud, although he was doing good work before that. But the stuff with Punk has been really elevated him and gave his character kind of a new twist. So Priest was really the one here I was worried about.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like he really kind of came through in this, and these two actually surprisingly had pretty good chemistry, I thought.
I would agree.
Yeah, I'll sacrifice a point to, say that I enjoyed the match.
Very nice. All right, we are moving on to the Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way with the former champion, spoiler, Braun Breaker. No, going into the match, the champion, Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. This was a train wreck is not to describe the quality of the match, just how the action played out. It was chaotic.
It was a drunken poo-poo platter.
It was
a match. Like, this is if you've been at the Chinese restaurant and it's a busy night and you and your friends decide you're going to get a couple poo-poo platters, but you're also going to have a couple scorpion bowls.
Mm-hmm.
And the food's taking way too long to come out, but the bar is running right on time, so you get another scorpion bowl, and then you get another scorpion bowl, and so by the time the food comes out, you're like 4 scorpion bowls deep, and everyone starts diving into those poo-poo platters like they've been on a desert island for about 8 weeks. That is the kind of like disastrous but gloriousness of this match.
And there's no regrets until the morning.
Depends on if you go for that poo-poo the scorpion bowl for dessert.
Oh, there you go.
That's when you're gonna have regret.
Yeah. So the notes
you put the alcohol underneath the grease. You don't then sandwich the grease.
That's not good.
Bad.
So my notes are, to start out, Breaker throwing everyone around was an interesting way to start the match. And it's really true. I mean, between Balor, Mysterio, and Penta, they are all a bit smaller than Breaker and not quite, as muscularized as the man is. But he throws them around. I have a note here. Dude Wipes as the sponsor of this match is just silly. I don't understand the need for it.
It's almost asinine, if you will.
Yeah. Whoa! Net. There it is. I have let's see. I love the Steiner math reference that the announcers make at a certain point, which I actually did find footage of Breaker launching into his own version of Steiner math for the Fatal 4-Way, which was pretty hysterical.
Oh yeah, that was at the pre-show or something like that.
I think he was wearing a cowboy hat too, which made it even funnier. So
again, I'm like, yeah, I saw that. I'm like, are you just trying to lean into Brock Lesnar 3.0 at this point? Like, what's happening?
Yep.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Nice move by Penta, drop towing Balor into Dirty Dom's crotchal region.
Yes,
that was hysterical.
That.
Just had a note, Breaker just dominating everyone, just with his physicality. And I had a note of crazy action to keep up. Like, I just couldn't keep up with taking notes during the match.
Yeah.
There's just so much stuff going on. And then I just had a note. Wow, Dominic wins the IC belt after the crazy action. He does the frog splash on Balor, who is trying to pin Breaker, and then he pins Balor, right? If I'm not mistaken, or did he throw Balor off and pin Breaker?
I thought he pinned Breaker.
Okay, I think you're right. I think he threw Balor off and pinned Breaker to win the championship. And the crowd went nuts. The crowd went nuts for Dirty Dom winning.
Because he went all the way to the top of the ramp.
Yep.
And the cameraman apparently was conveying the message like,
yep,
go back and celebrate, because then everyone else had to kind of detour around him because they sent it back to the ring.
Yep.
So that was, I believe that was probably a little unexpected to get that much of a vociferous response.
But all four guys represented well.
Mm-hmm.
It was great action. I mean, it really was. It was just so much action to keep up with, and and just an entertaining match. But Dominic Mysterio walks away with the championship. We both had selected Penta as the winner, so we no soup for us. Cero Miedo in terms of points, and then
well played.
Thank you. And then so we both, I think, gave this a 4.0 star rating. I actually came in at 3.75. I did not think this was a 4-star match. I did 3.75.
I did as well. Yeah.
So we're both at a quarter. So
nothing for either of us.
No points for either of us on this one. So hey, ironically, the match with Penta results in Cero. Actually, Cero points.
Do I have to do the Penta walk now?
Oh yeah, you got to do the smooth. I actually found on Instagram a reel that plays the song "Smooth Operator" while he's doing that walk, and it times out perfectly. It's like,
oh, I can see it in
Penta
my mind's
doing
eye
the smooth
right
jazz walk.
Oh yeah. Actually, they ought to do that as a goof one time.
They should.
That'd be so good. His theme song, his entrance music is badass, though. His whole presentation is so good.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal. Okay, second to last match on our card here, WWE Women's World Championship match. This was the first match of night 2. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to submit was easily match of the night.
Yes,
for night 2,
far and away, actually, by my
the women just blew everyone out of the water with this one. Io Sky as the champion versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley in a triple threat for the Women's World Championship. This match was off the charts insane. Physicality, action, just everyone was bringing the fire. Like I have in my notes the word fire, or bringing the fire so many times. Io showing great fire.
I wonder how Kevin Nash felt about this match afterwards.
Yeah, well, okay, well, he's probably smoking one. I have a note here. At one point I was scared Io was going to nail her head on the commentary desk with a moonsault on the outside. It was very JD McDonough-esque, and I'm like, oh sweet Moses, don't crack your head on the thing. And
that has become a new fear that is unlocked now.
Yes.
Anytime anyone does that, you're just like, oh god.
Nice boot by Rhea to Bianca, and then Io with the missile drop kick. I don't know if you remember that sequence, but that was pretty well done. Like Rhea kind of nails her with a big boot, and then Bianca turns around and gets just nailed by a missile drop kick out of nowhere. And then I have a note: action is too fast and too much to keep track of. And then my last note was amazing match, well done, well paced, damn near perfect. That was a phenomenal match. I wish I could talk more about the action because, like you said, we're about 2 or 3 weeks removed, so it's hard to remember all the details. But what stood out to me was the pace of the action, the physicality of the women, and just the way there was just a grit and a toughness to all three of them and what they were doing. And then Io ends up coming away with the victory, and really in a lot of ways, like, they are putting a rocket on her back now. Like she went from being part of Damage Control 3 months ago and just, I don't want to say she was the afterthought, kind of like the way the story played out. She wins the women's championship. She's still the afterthought between Rhea and Bianca. And then this match happens, and now she's like turned a corner where everyone is all the fans are starting to view her with, this is a serious main event champion.
Well, but she even had that groundswell of support, which kind of surprised me because, again, like, I really didn't know much about her beyond she was part of Damage Control, and Damage Control was such kind of this wishy-washy. It was the Judgment Day of the women's division, except Judgment Day has now even lived out way longer than Damage Control did, and it's still equally as useless. But I just knew that, she's the one who takes the bump off the top of the War Games, cage or whatever. And it's like, now the first time, like, she came out as champ, and there was like this wave of support that I was like, whoa, okay. Like, I know she's a good worker, but I didn't realize that everybody was kind of like the crowd was with her. You know what I mean? As much as they are.
Yeah.
And to go back to Mr. Nash's assertion, like, and the reason why this match was so good is because, yeah, you have Rhea and Bianca, and it could just devolve into a Haas match. Like, you have two very physically imposing people just beating the living crap out of each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Totally entertaining.
Yeah.
Totally works.
Yeah.
Has drawn money in any number of corners of the earth.
Yep.
However, you then add somebody in who is totally different
Mm-hmm.
in style, in stature, and now you've got something that has the potential to be really special.
Yep.
Because it's that type of thing where, you know, as someone who does graphic design, it's like you make everything bold, nothing is bold. You throw something in, you have, you know, something that is primarily monochromatic, a lot of black and white, a lot of shades of charcoal and all that, and then you throw that pop of color in, and now it's like, ooh, now that means something.
Yep.
And having someone like Io Sky in there against, you know, Rhea and Bianca, who are immensely physically gifted in terms of like just being larger than most everybody else on the female roster for either brand. Now you got something interesting, because now there's this third wild card element in there, and the fact that she's the champ, and then there's a story that she's the afterthought, and all of those things. It's like, that is why this worked so fracking well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and the fact that this was like, this should have been the main event.
Yep. They should have 100%.
By just the sheer. And I feel like, in a way, like this was almost like Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat. Like I would love to see a documentary 5-6 years from now where they're like, yeah, you're damn right, we were trying to steal the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we felt like this match should have been the main event. Like, we were good enough. We were this and that and the other. And yeah, we set out to ruin night 2 of WrestleMania, because nothing anyone else was going to do was going to come close. I would love that, because three immensely talented, not ladies, three immensely talented wrestlers just tore it up. And then everyone else is like, crap, we got to follow that.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, goody. Thanks.
That was very well done.
Yeah. So I predicted, what do I have?
So you picked Io Sky as the winner. I picked Bianca Belair. So I don't get any points. You get +2 for the winner. I had 4 stars. My rating ended up being 4.5. Because it was just so good. It was the match of the night, hands down. So I'm a half star off the pace. You had 4.5 stars. What was your rating?
4.5.
All right.
Which for me, like, I don't know that I've ever given a 5-star. To me, that has to be like transcendent. I might have. Did I? I can't.
No, I don't think you have. I've given one of 5 stars. I think I want to say, not War Games. What did I give? I gave something 5 stars. I can't remember what it was. I mean, it might have been maybe the end of WrestleMania last year, because it was like damn near perfect, that match.
Which, again, like, I feel like once you get to 4.755, like it can totally be a matter of opinion. It's just like whatever your gut is telling you to put you over that edge. 4.5 to me is as close to perfect without being like that. Oh my gosh, I want to watch this on repeat for all of eternity, sort of thing. So, but yeah, such a good match, such a good match. Lovely,
absolutely. All right, and then we get to the main event for the undisputed WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes defends against, the last time is now, John Cena. This match was,
that pause really says a lot, doesn't it?
So I'm looking at my notes, and it's been a couple weeks. So I have nice entrance by Cena, odd entrance from Cody, slow burn start, Cena keeping things slow, Cena out wrestling Cody, Cena dominating Cody. Did Cody forget how to wrestle is one of my notes. Now we have some back and forth finally. Cena can't put Cody away. We had a bad ref bump. Great near fall with Cody getting nailed by the exposed turnbuckle. Travis Scott taking his sweet-ass time getting to the ring. He could have used the ATV. Cody taking Scott out was okay. Cena loading up the belt. Cena wins. This went over like a wet fart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was not thrilled with this match. I had high expectations for this. I had guessed this would be 4.5 stars. So I do get, we both get +2 for Cena winning. We both figured Cena would win.
Yeah.
I think we both figured he would win in a much better match than what we saw.
Oh, yeah, because I had it at 4 stars.
So what did you end up giving this?
I gave this 2 3/4 stars.
Did you really?
And I feel like that is being generous.
Okay, well, I was overly generous. I gave it 3.5.
Oh, you are. Good God! I hope the United Way and every other charity is lining up to get your ass tomorrow. You're going to be nonstop calls from 800 numbers, sir.
Oh my goodness gracious! Unbelievable.
No, this match could have to me ranked up to 3.5.
Yeah,
if we had not gotten Travis Scott.
Mm-hmm.
If you figure out any other, I think Bully Ray actually had a better ending on this on Busted Open, where he said you have the Rock's music play.
Yes, I heard that. Yeah,
and it distracts Cody, and then Cena gets the win, and then the Rock can be like, "Oh, I didn't even have to be there." But instead, we get this BS thing where it's like Travis Scott, who, as Jim Cornette rightly pointed out, is about as big around as my wrist.
Yeah.
And then the excuse being he loves the business, he might be training and this and that. And it's like, who cares? Like,
right.
This is WrestleMania. This is the main event. Like, anyways. I'll have thoughts as we talk about the aftermath that I'll get into with this. But
there's also the symmetry of what happened at the end of last year's WrestleMania, what we saw at Elimination Chamber, and this is where I really don't understand what happened creatively here, because the Rock failed at stopping Cody from finishing his story. Then we had all this weird stuff that's happened over the course of the year where all of a sudden Rock and Cody are buddy again. Mm-hmm. And then Rock comes back for Cody's soul. And you're just kind of like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. But yet if at least the Rock had showed up to back Cena in taking the title from Cody, it would keep Cody as the sympathetic. I mean, I still think Cody's the babyface in all of this, but there's something that felt very clunky about that finish, that even though Cena was the one who used the belt, even though in the promo Cena said to him, it's going to come down to you making a choice, and you're going to make the wrong choice and I'm going to make the right choice. And it's exactly what happened. Cena was willing to cheat to win, and Cody was not. And but the way they laid the match out, just like, it really defanged Cody a lot. Like, Cody's had these amazing matches with Lesnar, really everyone he's gone up against, he's looked like a competent and strong fighter. And this match, it was just weird. Like, I just got this weird vibe from it. I get Cena was maybe trying to do something where he was trying to be more of a wrestler and make it slow and boring and getting people to boo him and stuff like that. It's like, okay, that I get, but why is it making like Cody look like he can't do anything? It looked very strange to me, or felt strange to me. So, I had to come down an entire point, because I'm just like, okay, yeah, it was an above average match and they had some moments of good action. There was some fire from Cody, but it just had a very weird feel to it. And the lack of Rock being there hurt it, because this could have been part of that arc of, okay, Rock gets one on Cody, so now we start working toward next WrestleMania where maybe there's something between him and Cody, or Rock has another proxy that Cody upends or dethrones or something like it. You know what I mean? Like, there's something to be done there. Mm-hmm. So why they chose not to pay that off, and it may be out of their hands because The Rock chooses to do what The Rock chooses to do, and he ends up damaging the product by not showing up. So
more to come.
So, all right, let's get through the side bets. All right, so let's see. Uncle Todd, Lyra turns heel. That did not happen. Karrion Kross is aligned with Logan Paul. That did not happen. Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio whoop on each other during the match and are antagonists after the match.
I mean,
they did fight each other during the match, but they were not antagonists after the match. They are still together in the Judgment Day.
Yeah, I mean, there's antagonistic tendencies, but no, they are, as of now, not yet. So,
Okay.
yeah, nothing.
Bianca goes full on heel. That did not happen.
No.
We had some sort of arc for her across nights 1 and 2 that did not play out in terms of a heel turn. And then lastly, we didn't touch on this. Stone Cold will show up during the main event. He didn't show up during the main event. He showed up, I think, before the main event to give us the count, and I think potentially had
traffic accident
consumed a couple of brews before operating a motor vehicle, because there is a video of him apparently missing the ramp with the ATV to go up onto the main stage, and he had to basically walk the ATV backwards to line it up to get it up the ramp. And then he did 2 laps around. This is backstage footage, like a fan took from their perspective, where Stone Cold completely missed the ramp to go up onto the main stage. It was pretty funny. But then once he gets on the stage and goes down, he goes around the ring twice, and during the second go around goes crashing into the barrier, which apparently knocked a fan over.
Bringing Nick Khan.
And then you see Nick Khan there, and it's
the scene. It's
dear.
Yeah, you got the CEO of the company showing up to
lawsuit
smooth things over, and then Stone Cold even goes over afterwards, exchanges a quick word. I'm guessing that fan got an autograph and whatever merch they wanted, as long, and maybe even a couple of shares of TKO stock.
Yes.
But yeah, that was, and then of course he had a couple Steve Weisers, and that was fun. But of course, the big news being that he turned down $1 million from Logan Paul to dress up in a Prime bottle.
Steve Austin did?
Yeah,
I did not hear that. Wow, that's interesting.
And apparently he wasn't going to share that, but Logan Paul did. So, anyways, your side bets. Let's see if anyone gets anything here, because I don't see anything so far.
Yeah. So let's see. Bailey turns heel. That didn't happen. Karrion Kross interferes on behalf of AJ. I don't think he did.
He was there.
He
didn't
just
really
there.
interfere. Yeah.
Karrion Kross costs AJ the match, and Paul wins. I don't think he did that.
No.
Seth Rollins interferes on behalf of Drew McIntyre. This was my storyline that did not play out. I wanted to see.
Yeah. Your headcanon got a little out of control.
Seth, Drew, and John all form, the triple threat of sorts. Let's see. Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio whoop on. Okay, we already been through this one. This didn't happen. Bianca goes full on heel. That didn't happen. The Rock, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins helped John Cena win. This would have been much more interesting than what happened in the main event. And then The Rock, McIntyre, Rollins, and Cena end the show as a unit. That did not happen. So we both get a goose egg each on the points. So we are now looking at, let's see, Uncle Todd has 3, 6, 8, 10, 13, 15 for Uncle Todd. I have
You're in the side bets, sir.
2. What?
You're in the side bets.
Sorry, thank you. So 0 on the side.
Keep this on the up and up, shall we?
Oh,
Neat
would you
and tidy
stop?
Accounting.
Doesn't change a damn thing for you.
Just makes me feel better.
4, 6, 9, 12 for me. So you take night 2 by 3 points. I took night 1 by 8 points. So probably a 5-point spread. I got to total this up here. So let's see. For you, it's 15 and 12. 15 and 12 is, let's see.
15 and 12 is 27.
So 27 for Uncle Todd.
Look at that, huh? I got the
Good
same
for
time you did.
20 and 12 is 32. So final total for WrestleMania 41, Uncle Todd with 27 points, the man they call Tim with 32.
Yeah.
Our overall standings for the leaderboard of 2025 is Uncle Todd with 64 points, and the man they call Tim with a commanding 10.5 point lead at 74.5 is leading the leaderboard.
Leading the leaderboard. Wow.
So our next event will be
Your mama must be so proud.
Are we going to try to watch Backlash? I've got to double check with.
I might. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the weekend brings. What do I have going? I don't know. We'll see. So let's get into the aftermath portion of this, because this to me is a little more interesting. So right now, looking at night one, I mean, do we have anyone who's really? I mean, we've got a couple things here, but it seems like this was the event that it's like, and then nothing matters afterwards. So like from night one, we've got Jade and Naomi are continuing their feud.
Yeah.
LA Knight is still going after the U.S. Championship, but it seems pretty obvious they're trying to like leverage him into a thing with Damian Priest.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair ain't nowhere to be seen, which, I mean...
Well, Tiffany is starting a thing with Naomi and Jade Cargill, it looks like.
Yeah, but still, like, so...
But Charlotte Flair, I don't know what she's up to.
Yeah, nothing there. And then the one that pisses me off, well, then let's go here. So we got CM Punk still peripherally involved with Seth Rollins.
Yep.
Roman Reigns, of course, is off on fracking vacation because he's only works like 8 nights a year. So partial credit. The one that pisses me off is Jey Uso and Gunter. If there's a cause for a return match, if there's a cause for this to keep carrying on, if there's a cause for Gunter to be feuding with anyone except a commentator, if you're going to knock Gunter out, why is he not asking for a return match with Jey? Why is that not a thing? Especially considering he took out Jimmy Uso, who have we seen Jimmy Uso since he like bled 5 quarts of blood in whatever town, Tulsa? I don't know where it was. But there should be a return match there, and then Gunter gets his comeuppance again, and that knocks him out or something. I don't know what, but I mean, it just feels like Gunter shouldn't just like all of a sudden be like, you know what, I spent 3 months running down Jey Uso, and now I'm just going to immediately turn to the commentator.
Mm-hmm.
What the frack? What the absolute frack is going on there? That pisses me off. That absolutely pisses me off. And then we get into night 2, and I get it. Like Liv Morgan's going off and she's filming a movie, so and I get the Lyra Valkyria and all that. Fine, whatever. AJ Styles moving on to something else, fine, I get that too, because Logan Paul, like, okay, fine. The thing that gets me here is, the fact that we have not seen Cody Rhodes since WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And that Randy Orton is getting the title shot at Backlash. Cody Rhodes was not hurt or damaged in any way, shape, or form that should have kept him from showing up not only in the last couple weeks, but the night after on Raw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which makes him further look weak. And now Randy Orton is stepping in and taking the title shot at Backlash.
Yeah. We got props now on the show. I love it. I love it.
The thing that's bad is I actually have notes on that. But
you know what'd be great is if you had a fire going behind you and you threw it and it went in the fire and all of a sudden you see.
It's been rainy and chilly enough in Maine. I actually thought about firing up the wood stove, but I just vacuumed it out, so I didn't want to do that. I don't get that. I do not get that. To your point, though, and I won't.
I do have a thought on that. So
okay, well, you go ahead. And actually, hang on one second. I got to go retrieve my prop because it has no notes.
Well, I can't really start talking because he needs to hear what I'm saying. I was going to start talking, but realized you wouldn't have heard anything I said and can't really react to it. So
okay, sorry. About that.
The only thing I can think of is if the plan is for Cody to get the title back later this year, then maybe that's what they're saving it for, and they're having Cena. The interesting thing I remember seeing leading up to the event is, or it was either leading up to the event or right after the event, is Cena doing a interview where he talked about being approached about the idea of the heel turn and how he thought it would be an interesting way, like we could have done the safe thing and done the
Mhm.
victory lap, for him and called it a day at the end of the year. Or we could do this as a way of doing something very different that had never been done before
Mhm.
and have it play out. And I wonder if this is part of that victory lap, except him doing it as a heel, where he's going to take on Randy Orton, where he may take on CM Punk, where he may he's still going to do his greatest hits matches, but he's going to do it as the champ, and he's going to continue to win. And there's going to be what, like, I think where they're going to try to go is build, it's kind of rebuild Cody up in terms of, going after him and getting the title back before John leaves as the last real champion, as he calls himself. That may be where the story is going, but I agree with what you're saying, that there's like something just feels off creatively about this. That how do
Yes.
you go from the guy who fought Lesnar in a trilogy of matches to earn his respect, who went through hell this last year fighting Owens, fighting Gunther, fighting a number of top contenders, improving his mettle and improving himself as a competent and strong champion. And then he just disappears. Now, the one thing I could think of is similar to Gunther is this their way of giving Cody a break, because Cody has in a lot of ways had the company on his shoulders for the last year and a half. And I say year and a half because he was the man going into WrestleMania last year. He was he went through probably more than a year and a half, like 2 years. Like, he's been out straight
Well,
as the guy.
he's carried 2 WrestleMania opponents who are
Right.
part-time workers.
Yes.
So he did the bulk of
And so
that.
is this a way to give him a rest while Cena carries the load for a period doing these sort of greatest hits matches, and then having him come back, re-energized, recharged, and now with this renewed purpose to regain the championship that he lost and, and probably from his character's point of view shouldn't have lost.
Yep.
Which I could see that being a compelling story, but I 100% understand what you're saying, because it doesn't feel in character for him to disappear like that.
There needed to be there had to be, and this isn't just us fantasy booking. This is like people who have worked in the industry saying, like, there's like 5 other ways I can come up with on the fly right now that would have been better ways to send him off if you're indeed trying to give him time off. Like, and it doesn't involve necessarily beating the hell out of him and bleeding half of his body weight out or anything. Like, there's other ways you can do this. Having a friggin' rapper who, again, looks like a stick figure compared to these guys come down and like be the difference in this thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it is like you're saying. Like, I would love to see that. I would love to see it in a way where Cody kind of has to run the gauntlet. It would be great if God, I don't want The Rock to come back. If there was some way that Cena had it, through some sort of chicanery, contractual chicanery, that basically, like, Cody had to run the gauntlet to get back, to get that title shot, and that at each point it is almost like there's a lot of face versus face matches. Like, he had to go against Sami Zayn, he has to go against this guy, that guy, and at each point after Cody beats them, the other person is like, you know what, best loss I've ever taken, get this guy's ass.
Yep.
Do it. I'd love for that to happen. I just really wish it had been executed better. It's like a personal situation that I just went through where I had to talk to someone, and I was like, it's not that I disagree with the goal you're trying to reach. I agree. Like, that is the thing. That is the way it ought to be. And like, I totally see that and I agree with it, and I'm behind it. But you know what? The way you communicated it, the way that you got there, not the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a better way to communicate this. There's a better way to do this. There's a better way to tell this story. The way you get there, the journey to get there, like, that is the bulk of the story. Like, yeah, you get to the end, but then at the end, it's like, oh, I mean, why do you read a book? I could tell you the end of the book. Would you want to know? Would you want to know the end of the movie? No, because you want to see how you get there. That's the thing.
Yep.
Anyways, that was infuriating for me. Just the way that went. It wasn't that I was opposed to Cena winning. It was the fact that, like, you just did it in, like, what felt like a really chicken shit stupid creative way.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird. And this is well, actually, no. Let me because this is something you mentioned before about The Rock having stroke and all that. It feels to me like The Rock is playing at wrestling.
Yeah.
And he's doing that because he has his seat at the board, in, like, for shootsies, like he has interest in the company and all this, and now he can just kind of show up whenever he wants. And he showed up on NXT, and it appeared like he was basically drunk off his ass, and kind of does this and that and the other, and does whatever he wants. And it feels like this dude is just playing at wrestling, which to me is like, how dare you, dude? Like, you're how many generations into this, like, are you? And you're, like, you say you go out there and you do your, like, the goosebumps and everything. It's like, you're just kind of showing up and you're screwing this thing up. And it's like, I don't want The Rock on. Before I was like, oh, this would be great if you get to this and that and the other. When you talk about, like, The Rock and Cody, I'm like, no, I don't want The Rock to ever darken my TV ever again. Like, between the inconsistency in his character and the nonsensical nature of this, and it's seeming like he can kind of just show up whenever he wants to do something, and all this is like, just be done. Just be done.
Yep.
Go away. Go make your crappy movies, and go make your Oscar contender here that, you're trying to do with the friggin' smash. And the thing is, like, when that gets friggin' rolled by critics, all of a sudden Rock's going to be on the TV 24/7. Yeah, I'm sick of that, because it took this story, which didn't necessarily need The Rock, and inserted him into it, and then he's gone. And it makes it even more nonsensical. It's absolutely stupid. However, the thing that is even more, well, not more, but equally as stupid, is the fact that the way I have this written down is fans playing sing along is basically ruining wrestling. And here is the problem, is that we have John Cena, who's doing everything in his power to be a heel, and unfortunately, the fact that fans just show up to sing along with the wrestlers, and it's kind of this whole thing that everybody's in on now.
Yeah.
It makes it really tough for anyone to really be a real true heel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cena did all the heelish stuff and then showed up on Raw and got cheered, and he had to go out of his way to try and, like, talk the crowd down and try and heel it up. And even then, he was still getting cheered by about 25%.
Yeah.
And it's that thing of, like, I don't want to be the old bastard, craving kayfabe or anything, but it's like, when the crowd is just, like, there to cheer or boo whatever they feel like, and they just want to sing along with Seth Rollins, and they're going to do that no matter if he's a heel or a face or whatever. Like, it's like, what are we doing? Like, how it feels like a bit of mob rule right now, and I'm not digging that, because I feel like it feeds into stuff like what The Rock is doing.
Yeah.
Of, like, I can show up, see, they love me no matter what I do. It's like, that's not the point, asshole. Like, they're supposed to hate you, and they don't.
Yeah.
That's a problem if you're a bad guy,
Yeah.
So right now, I've been kind of catching the clips of all the shows, and I'm just frustrated, because I'm like, it feels like none of this makes sense. It feels like, again, we're back to almost like making chicken salad out of chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I've monopolized enough of time. Any thoughts for you with the aftermath of all this?
I mean, I don't know that I don't know that I fully agree with your assertion. I look at
which one.
Well, no, I mean, so War Raiders are chasing the New Day. They're trying to work their way into another tag title match.
Yeah, but how
on
much
Raw.
does how much does a tag championship even mean? The fact
let-
that we
let
don't
me
have
get-
another one.
let me get
on this.
through.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let me get through
I'm
it.
sorry, I get excited.
The War Raiders are working toward the New Day, so
Mhm.
that is continuing. We have El Grande Americano, who is continuing. His domination of Lucha Libre. We have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, who regain their championships. Now, Liv is, I believe, off filming a movie now, so we won't see her for a little bit. AJ Styles, he's off now, feuding with Finn, it looks like. Not sure what the Karrion Kross thing is going to render for us. Randy is fighting Cena, as we talked about. Priest and McIntyre, they're involved now with LA Knight and Jacob Fatu for the U.S. title. Braun Breaker is now off with Seth Rollins and supporting that story with Punk and Reigns.
Mhm.
Penta is fighting Dominic. Balor is still tangentially tied to Dominic, and who knows if he's going to be, maybe he's the reason Penta wins at Backlash. Could happen. Io Sky and Rhea, it looks like they're going to team up and take on these NXT ladies who are coming up from there to the main roster.
Is
And
that
to your
Julia
point,
and Roxanne?
Roxanne Perez and Julia are the two that are coming in, and then you've got what you mentioned with Rhodes and Cena not really having a follow-up, same as Gunther and Jey Uso. I agree with you on Gunther Jey Uso. There's no reason why Backlash shouldn't have Gunther fighting Jey Uso again, unless the idea is they don't want to damage Gunther, and that'll be telling on Saturday. Like if McAfee beats Gunther, then I don't understand why you wouldn't have had Gunther go into a Jey Uso rematch where he would lose, because he would lose less if he lost to Uso than if he lost to McAfee. If this is a Gunther destroys McAfee and is suspended for violence beyond the pale of what is expected in a wrestling match, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because there's some crazy crap that happens in wrestling matches.
Indeed.
Then he's gone for a period of time to take his sabbatical, but he leaves as a monster, and you can't do that if he's fighting Jey Uso. So I think that's the only thing I can rationalize on that is there's something in the storytelling they can't do if Gunther gets the rematch, because he has to go over, and they don't want Uso is going to be probably the champion for the foreseeable future. So that's where, like Uso will fight Paul to have a good match, but Uso will come out on top. Paul doesn't really lose anything from that because he's challenging Uso for the first time.
When he's got heat for miles.
Right. So all that to say, like, I feel like there are some threads that have fallen off. I don't think it's as dire as I at least heard you describe, because there is some follow-up happening, but it's not. But I agree, there are some areas where it doesn't make sense why they didn't follow up on certain things.
I ask you this one question.
Yes, sir.
Is Gunther going to beat Pat McAfee any worse than he beat Jimmy Uso?
I don't know. It depends on how they end up booking it. It may not be about giving a visual of, maybe it is. Maybe it's a combination of a visual of blood and destruction, or it could just be, this is the man who puts people away with a power bomb. Who's to say he doesn't decide to just pull out a bunch of tables and start power bombing McAfee endlessly through tables to just you know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That's a way that you can leverage some major damage and get suspended for overdoing it.
Well, but here's the thing, like,
I'm being a little ridiculous when I say that, but you know what I mean.
Well, no, I get it, but the thing is, I'm trying to put in real world perspective, like, what is McAfee capable of? What are you capable of doing with him?
He's capable of doing a couple of moves and some aerial stuff that maybe gets the crowd to pop, but
in terms of like damage, because if you're going to do a power bomb, no less of an authority than Mick Foley has said, the power bomb is one of the more dangerous maneuvers that you can take.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really a great way to take that where you're not going to feel it, how do you really inflict, like, that's the thing. Like, I guess I'm just trying to picture, like, how do you make it to that point of beyond the pale of violence when he literally had this dude bleeding like a stuck pig and rubbed his blood over his own body? Like, what do you, where is the level beyond that,
Well,
where then you're like, he's got to go?
But it's context. It's context. He does this to Jimmy outside of the confines of a match. So yes, I get what you're saying. Should he have been, in theory, should he have been suspended? 100% yes.
Yeah.
At the time he's the world champion, he has to defend at WrestleMania. Probably gets him out of the suspension that way. He does what he does to Michael Cole and then to Pat McAfee. Now, what I think is stupid is why Pierce said you're indefinitely suspended and then 1 week later rescinds it. Like, that's stupid. Like, don't suspend him at all. Just have him show up and have the discussion with McAfee and then have the match.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, okay, you suspend him again, let's say, and what are you going to do? Lift it in a week? Mm-hmm. You know, like they've already set the precedent of, well, this isn't really going to stick.
Yeah.
I within the confines of a match, though, there is an element of the referee protecting an opponent, or, you know, a wrestler who cannot protect themselves. And if you have Gunther continuing to pound on someone who is not really a full-time wrestler, who they give the appearance of, you know, doing more violent acts to beyond what the match demands, like he clearly has him beaten, but he's not beating him because he wants to continue to inflict more damage, and the referee's trying to get involved, and then Gunther throws the referee out. You know, like, that's a way that they could do it too, is if, you know, he completely disregards the authority of the referees who are trying to maintain law and order in a match. You could then make a statement that he has violated, you know, the rules of the WWE in terms of competition and what happens in a match, and is therefore, you know, suspended for, let's say, a 3-month period, you know, that is firm and will not be rescinded. You know, I could see them doing that, and that's a way you could do it where he doesn't exactly have to bloody up McAfee, but he ends up damaging McAfee and a lot of referees.
Yeah. Well,
there's ways storyline you can do it where it isn't what we saw with Jimmy Uso, but it's in the confines of a match where you end up having an authority figure trying to protect someone who can't defend themselves, and the aggressor goes well beyond what they should do.
Again, like, Randy Orton is, you know, RKO'd Nick Aldis, you know, and prepaid his fine or whatever and all that. Like, to me, again, I get your point, you know.
Can I use a phrase you use on me?
Yes.
It's space magic.
It is, but at the same time, like, space magic has to make sense within its own universe. And that's the thing. Like,
well, it doesn't. It doesn't, because it's magic. Like, that's the point.
But again, like,
it is the unexplainable.
It is the unexplainable, but that has to be somewhat within the realm of what is in that. Like, all of a sudden, you couldn't have, like, Luke Skywalker be like, "Oh, and by the way, this lightsaber now, it's a nuclear weapon." You're like, well, that ain't ever happened before.
I get what you're saying, but I think I've laid out 2 or 3 examples of how they could do it.
But there's
within
also
the rules of the universe.
Rules of the universe are also that you have another wrestler who has RKO'd the general manager of one of your 2 flagship shows, and is now competing for the Undisputed World Championship. You have people who have taken out any number of refs and or security people and or whatever. Like, that's the thing, is like, I'm just like, how do you elevate this to the point of, and if it's another wrestler, if it's Jey Uso, I get it, because that person is going to be capable of more things than Pat McAfee, who is middle-aged former punter who is not a
it can't be Jey Uso because he's the champion. You're running into physics of
and I get that. That's why I'm saying,
physics
like,
of the universe of wrestling, where you're trying to build up now a new champion. Like, you can't have.
I'm not saying I'm just saying there has to be another way. There has to have been another way to do this.
I've laid it out for you.
No. Besides going into like, you're the guy who just lost his world championship, then saying immediately, "I want a piece of that commentator." don't you want to go back and get the championship that you just spent the last, like, again, because the ramp
Sure.
up from Jey Uso to Gunther was 3 friggin' months.
I know.
Of them talking.
I know.
And immediately Gunther is like, to hell with him. To hell with my championship.
So
this guy.
You have a point. You're right. But I'm telling you, the reason behind it is they want to protect, and this is why I'm getting more convinced that Gunther will beat Pat McAfee, is they are trying to, I think they're probably going to try to build Gunther up to be a monster again. And they can't use their world champion to do that. Well, because if they do, they have a choice to make. They suspend the monster like they're going to do anyways because he's taking time off. But then their world champion has to go away for a period of time and sell that. And right now, Jey Uso is more valuable to them in the arena than out of the arena.
Totally.
So they have to have him there. So you have this physics going on where you can't tell the story you want to tell with both of these guys coming together. So that's why Uso goes off and fights a different opponent, and Gunther goes and takes on someone who clearly is not in his class, but he's doing it to defend the honor of his friend who was unreasonably attacked by him. And I understand it feels hokey and it doesn't feel like a real story, but in a way, we've seen athletes at times. I mean, I don't know if we've seen them attack reporters before, but in the right frame of mind, they get pissed off at the press that say things that they don't agree with. And I think that's the story they're trying to go with Gunther, is he feels wrong or slandered by these two. He takes it out on the 60-year-old Cole, which can't defend, he's not trying to wrestle anymore. Not that he was ever wrestling before, but he had his moment where he donned the tights. And then you have McAfee, who is more capable of wrestling than Cole, who is standing in for his friend and wants to defend his ability to say what he wants to say because of, look, like you said last night, he's 28 years doing this. He's only missed 3 weeks of Raw in those 28 years. He's earned the right to say his opinion if he wants. I see where they're going with it, but I think it's to serve the greater purpose of building Gunther up as a monster by eviscerating McAfee and doing it in a way that's, is it going to be the same as Jimmy Uso? I don't know. Maybe they use blood. Maybe they don't use blood. Not quite sure what the right way to do that is. If I were to write it, it probably would involve blood, and it would involve probably referees getting, ignored and physically harmed. So what you're trying to do is have Gunther maximize his damage across not only his opponent, but the authority figures, so that you have a story to say you are suspended for multiple months because of this behavior, and you need to now go and, it's kind of like putting him in the corner. So that's just my thought on it. I get what you're saying, though, why after tapping out he wouldn't go back to Uso. I think you could also develop a story out of that, because and if they do, I don't know if they're going to or not, but the fact he tapped out to a sleeper hold, I feel like there's some story you could tell there. Like, was he afraid of passing out? That's kind of an interesting story for someone who's supposed to be this brute, that he's afraid of something like that. Does he eventually want to get some vengeance on Jey Uso for embarrassing him at WrestleMania? Quite possibly. Maybe that's what happens when he comes back from his sabbatical. And maybe at that point it's time for Uso to relinquish the title. That's where my head goes. But I get what you're saying. I just think they've painted themselves into a corner, because Gunther stands more to lose to Jey Uso at Backlash. If he were to lose a second time, he stands more to lose.
And this is my point. They painted themselves into a corner. This is not a run and gun. We're going week to week, month to month indie promotion. This is the largest sports entertainment company on the planet ever. Ever. They were drafting WrestleMania 41 weeks after WrestleMania 40. And granted, it changed a billion times in between there, but they were they're aiming at this thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're planning ahead. And judging by how creative has been working over the last couple of years since He Who Shall Not Be Named was finally gone, then that doesn't give them, that gives them the opposite of a get out of jail free card here. That actually makes it worse, because unless Gunther came to them in the last couple of weeks and was like, I got to have time off. Unless this was an emergency situation where he's like, I need time off. I have a family thing. I have a physical thing. I have this. I have that.
It doesn't sound like it's an emergency. It sounds like
Okay.
this was planned time off after.
Then it's a shitty plan. And the fact is, like, you've been planning these things for months, and there's other ways to do things. And it's not just like, oh, well, Jay won it at WrestleMania. Now what? It's like, you literally could have taken the belt off of Gunther 2 months ago.
And we got to move on from this because it's getting late. But
I know.
I'll throw this at you.
Yes.
I could also see you argue the other way, that if they go with a Jay Gunther rematch, a complaint of, we've seen these guys going at it for 3 months. I'm sick of this.
My thing is, like, this should have been planned out better from the outset. That unless, like, Jay winning the Royal Rumble was a complete goof,
no, I don't
this should have been planned out completely differently, and we wouldn't have had it wouldn't be a question of backlash. Should we have Jay and Gunther again? It would have been like, Gunther should have already been off. Like, this should have been done completely differently. If the end result is that Gunther loses and Gunther needs time off, do it in a different way. You've got the previous 3-4 months to plan this, and if this is the best solution that you have, you failed.
Yeah.
And hey, I mean, we all fail. We all mess up. I'm just saying, like,
sure.
this is a D- at best type thing. Like, this should have been done differently. And I'm sure at a certain point, someone in creative is like, yeah, wow, we did not do this very well.
I agree.
That's my point.
They could have turned this, they could have treated this in a similar way that they've treated Cody, where Gunther just disappears 100%. I'm curious to see what happens Saturday and what that leads to. If it is an establishment of Gunther as a monster who has to be suspended for a number of months because he's too dangerous, I kind of can see where they're going with it.
Mm-hmm.
If McAfee wins, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's just kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I don't have as much of an, like, I get where you're coming from. I don't have as much of an issue with where they're going right now, because I want to see where they take it. I see the possibilities around it. Whether they follow through on any of those possibilities, of course, is, remains to be seen, through Saturday. But I'm willing to go for the ride, and I guess I'm not. What I hear from you is, I think you are not high on the way they're going right now, and I'm willing to kind of see where they take it.
Fair enough.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So I didn't think we were going to get deep into Gunther and Jay.
Let's not do Jay Uso. Let's do the Jake the Snake. It's time for the short arm clothesline, which not this past Monday, but the Monday before, Rhea Ripley, I'm pretty sure, broke out.
Nice.
Which was phenomenal to see. It was like,
nice.
That is a move that needs to be happened. But so where do we have, what do we have for and another thing for this episode, sir?
Are we finally wrapping up the aftermath? I think we need an aftermath to the aftermath.
No, we need to get through this section real quick and get the hell out of here. It's time to go home. I'm sorry. The back in Gorilla, they're telling us to go home.
They're telling us to go home. Please, dear God, everyone wants to go home and go to bed. My and another thing is just something it's part of my liked songs list that I have on Spotify. But it is an album by Wynton and Ellis Marsalis called Joe Cool's Blues. And it is a collection of their interpretation and take on very classic Peanuts songs from the animated series. So we have Linus and Lucy, we have Peppermint Patty, we have What else? Little red-haired girl, little birdie. Love that song.
That is such a great tune, dude. Such a great rendition.
Snoopy and Woodstock. It is an absolute pleasure to listen to these songs, and Wynton and Ellis are phenomenal with this, and so I just have enjoyed on my walk, to work or on the train, listening, having a song or two pop in, because I usually run my liked list on random, and so it pops in every so often, and I very much enjoy the songs and the those musical arrangements and interpretations that they've done of these very popular and iconic Peanuts songs. So highly recommend Joe Cool's Blues to you on Spotify.
I remember I got that CD back in high school.
Nice.
And just to go a further deep dive, you of course realize, Ellis Marsalis, the father of Wynton Marsalis. This also featured two other Marsalis. Marsalisi. You got Delfeo Marsalis, who plays trombone on Little Birdie. He's also does producing, mixing, and mastering on this, because why not?
Sure.
And we also got Branford Marsalis, who plays tenor sax on Little Birdie. So we get it's a family affair, if you will.
Very nice.
But yeah, it was such a great album. Oh my gosh, I'm mad now that I haven't recommended that before.
If you will.
I'm going to recommend my own album. Samantha Fish's new album, Paper Doll. I think I recommended the lead single off of this, Sweet Southern Sounds, a few episodes ago. But now the entire album is up for grabs, and I listened to it today while I was at work. And Samantha Fish, just a fantastic songwriter, guitarist, singer, just all around, like the total package. And her songs just have this edge to them, and her voice is very unique. In that, a lot of blues singers tend to get into that kind of yell, rasp sort of thing, and she manages to stay much more into the melodic end of the singing spectrum, which kind of, I feel, sets her apart. She can definitely get a little growl in her voice, but it definitely has a little bit more of a lilt, which I find interesting. And then her guitar playing then more than makes up for that, because she's got some serious grit in the way she plays guitar. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so definitely check out Paper Doll, brand new 2025 release from Samantha Fish. More than worth your time. Nice. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to finally wrap this up after the man they call Tim and I almost came to blows digitally over Jey Uso and Gunther. Like, who?
We didn't. Whoa!
Who knew this was going to be the test of our friendship?
Whoa, player! There are no blows being thrown on this. I was simply, debating you. I think this was a healthy debate.
You're getting rather testy.
Was I?
Yeah, you had something in a bunch. I don't know. Did you gird your loins in the wrong direction?
I might have.
You got to go clockwise. You don't
it's
go
all good.
Counterclockwise.
It's all good.
That tends to cause a little bit of a sort of thing. But thank you all for listening. We do certainly appreciate you. You can find this podcast and others on all the major podcast providers. That would be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon, all of those types of joints. You can find, and you can also go to freerangeidiocy.com and find all of our episodes there. Download them one by one. All of them, if you'd like. That would be quite super awesome if you just did all of them. Just don't listen to the first 5 or 6. They're rough. You can also get our Week in Geek posts on the same stream there. You can find us on the social medias. We are on the Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on the YouTubes. All of those are at Free Range Idiocy. You can find full video, full glorious 1080p HD video on the YouTubes and also on the Spotify. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, you can send those to Tim. Oh, he's showing off his T-shirt. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? The main Millennium Falcon.
The Mainlenium.
Mainlenium. Thank you. Ugh. Speaking has been a difficulty this evening.
Say that 5 times fast.
No, thank you. You can send those to Tim at freerangeidiocy.com, and he'll get back to you forthwith, PDQ, if not sooner. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to turn over this show to the man who is next to the man Okay, we're not going to get into that, but thank you, Robin Harris. Go listen to Baby's Kids. That's your bonus and another thing. But not before I ask him the second most important question in all of human history. The first being what is hip, the second being what in the high holy hell did we learn this episode, sir?
Well, first and foremost, we learned that Uncle Todd and the man they call Tim may go one-on-one with some debate on wrestling. But it is all in good fun and in, at the end of the day, just really desiring a quality product from WWE. So, Paul, if you're listening, we'll take some credit. We'll take some,
At first, I thought you meant him.
No! I'm talking about...
I got confused. I'm sorry.
Paul Levesque. The original PLE.
Hey, Paul Levesque, eh? Yeah. Paul Levesque. You come down here, you do the pay-per-view, eh?
No, good Lord. I just love that story about, it's like, hey, Levesque, you're French, right? No. It's like, oh, go out there and sound like a French guy.
Well, no, first they're like, go do promos in French. He's like, I don't speak French. I do it with a French accent. And of course, he's like, I want a job. So he puts on the worst French accent ever. It's terrible.
Amazing story of a journey to greatness. One Paul Triple H is back. But if you want some ideas, you want some new ideas in the writing, give Uncle Todd and man they call Tim a call. We will deliver the goods. 110%. 110%.
Wildly available. And 1,000 times easier to deal with than Vince Russo.
That goes without saying. Nonetheless, we have also learned that the man they call Tim is 10.5 points better than Uncle Todd, and there is no chicanery happening in the spreadsheet. This was on the up and up, and we had a solid 32-27 victory by the man they call Tim over Uncle Todd. But hey, we each had our picks. That helped us earn some points, and we showed some knowledge. We showed the gift of understanding how these matches would play out through our star ratings, and I feel like we were pretty darn close.
Or we just outright guessed.
Well, that too. We have also learned that when you have a 2-night event, one main event may be top notch, the other main event, not so much. We've also learned that Uncle Todd and the man they call Tim, may need to stay away from the side bets. I think we were swinging pretty much .011 was our average on that. So
good move on those side bets for Backlash. Let's just let that one lie.
Just move on and pretend that didn't even happen. We've also learned that Uncle Todd has some strong opinions about Gunther and Jey Uso. Very, very strong opinions about Pat McAfee being in the ring. So Backlash could be good, or it could be Uncle Todd's Lewis Black moment. We will see. With all that being said, it is late. It is great to be back. We have also learned that the idiots who, when they travel, they come back with a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and yet need their sleep. So, with all that being said, be safe, be healthy, be kind, be good to one another. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The range is closed for now. See ya.
Mussolini! It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
Damn!
You're such a disappointing pair. I prayed so hard for you. Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
So say we all. So say we all.
Amen and amen.
Are we even doing the after episode segment at this point?
I think we need to.
You ready to fall asleep here?
I think we need to do Bad Man to close us out.
Oh, I figured you'd go with something else, but all right, fine. This is going to get us in trouble on Spotify. Spotify is removing some of our episodes.
Are they really?
Oh, you done did it now.
I think a couple of
Chaos, you should have put this one in the vault, man.
50s or something.
They not
ready.
Really? They don't know what's coming, man. Are we going to drop this on them right here?
I guess that makes us
bad man.
There you go.
A bad man. When we invading the streets, make them clap a rapper skirt. They be dropping
there it is.
Shock the world, now I'm standing alone. I flip fools like them clamshell cellular phones. You can't help but nod your head to the track.
Clamshell cellular phones.
Taking it back, give it to me straight. Ain't no chasing it. Check yourself in the mirror, ain't no facing it. Cause you playing the role and you playing the fold. This the master plan. We got the planet on hold.
Now get the hell out of here!